Oh,
Go. Go, 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 go. Go. We are live here. This is We Are Aquarius. I am Frank, and that is Brad over there. And we're going to talk today about what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about
everything.
crying babies and the world.
Barely hear it.
Barely hear what?
Now everybody can. You don't hear it?
Yeah, a little fading in the back. Brad's got a kid that just likes to scream, And
He's literally just like the spitting image of me. Just complains about everything, and
he wants to grow up to be like Daddy.
Thinks that he's special. That's the worst part. He keeps thinking he's special. I don't know how.
Well, you keep telling him he's special, he's gonna keep thinking he's special. So don't want to do that all the time.
Nowadays,
I mean, you could do that all the time. I had people that say you're very special, and when I got older, I'm like, I'm really not that special. I thought I was, but I'm not. And then
basic, man. You basic.
So then when you get older, you realize you're just a basic bitch, and you just go on with your life and live the best BB life that you can live. Right?
We give up 100%.
Give up 100% of the time. Never
make your life as easy as it can possibly be.
Always quit as soon as possible.
Hobby.
Never give it a second thought. Okay, I'm full of bad advice right now.
Where are we going with this?
I don't even know. You wanted to do an off the cuff thing here, so I'm just like, let's do it. Yeah, go. It's go time. It's go time, everybody. It's go time. So, essentially,
what were you saying about scratching, or was that personal?
I think I got eczema. Or else I really like scratching my back now. It's like,
no, my dad was always like that.
Why does that feel so good?
I'm telling you, he would always be like, "Oh, scratch my back, I'll pay it." My dad was a weird guy.
But then again, I've always had a girlfriend that always wanted some kind of massage all the time.
Yeah.
And after a while, I'm like, my hands are tired. I don't really want to do it anymore. Here, I'll just.
The thing is, I like massages, but like, a massage requires like a sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can't just be going in there and just be like, oh, like you have to think about it. But I'm just saying, not just a hand sacrifice.
Well, even if it's a foot massage, a hand massage, that takes some deep quality squishing.
No, but I'm saying, a thought. Well, but that's what I'm saying. It's a thought sacrifice. You have to basically really be thinking about how the body is, where the pain is. You gotta be gentle in the beginning, just find where the pain, and then start to think about how the pain. You have to think about how they're feeling, because a lot of people like to just get the knot out, pushing it, and it's like you're pushing it. That's not getting the knot out. That's just like irritating the whole body. Like you have to think about how you can like.
And you listen when they make the little moans and little movements and stuff, and you kind of know, oh, that's where.
When people people do, they love to like push and stretch. That's how people like to get their pain, push and stretch that area.
But sometimes you can just do a little bit of this, and just do a little bit of that and work it over, and sometimes it doesn't take much.
Stimulation. People like the stimulation, so like multiple touches, multiple fingers going everywhere makes them like, shake it out themselves. Because a lot of the kink is really just salts. To me, it's like your body builds up the salts, and they kind of like will harden up if you don't kind of keep it moving.
What is up with that? Because that's what I've heard That's what I heard for such a long time, is that your body needs salt, but your body doesn't produce it. Do you really need salt? Like I'm not saying sodium, or not saying sodium, but I'm saying salt specifically. Do you really need the salt? Because the fact is, like, I found out, and I learned that the oceans are covered in salt because there's a lot of salt mines that are on the edges of the oceans that distribute the salt everywhere. That's why they're salty.
All right. So,
but do you need the salt in your body? Is that an important thing? Like a real important thing? and then when you massage, you get the salt out, or you collapse the salt.
I mean, I'm basically just making up whatever I'm making up, but that's just how I feel. Just how I feel.
Thought you had a good point there.
I mean, maybe I'm, because isn't lactic acid salt and all that? I don't know. I hear a lot of things, and it seems like every time I try to, this is how my life is. I read things if they're entertaining or interesting. I'll watch things if they're entertaining or interesting. I'll try to learn it as best as I can. I don't always, get it down to the key. I can sometimes be a title reader, and just be like, I got it, or watch the first 5 minutes, or just watch.
Oh, please don't do that for news. The president's a space alien from Zeta Nebula, and they came here looking for peace, but they're going to shoot everybody if you don't say yes to eating.
You're going to get us cut offline, dude. I don't know.
Everybody's gonna, but I'm just saying, like, this is the problem with our world today, is everybody believes the headline. They don't read anything in there. They just see the headline and they run with it. They're like, they said that? Oh, okay, good. I believe it because that person has money and they're on a TV and I'm not. So therefore, they're important. This is literally the most basic way of thinking about it. That a lot of...
Why they deserve all the money.
Yeah.
Look, I was thinking, listen, I was thinking, this is just a crazy off the wall conspiracy, right? Off the wall, just because I was thinking today. All right. So I've already come up with that idea that George Bush opened that whole like foreign aid idea to Ukraine, which is kind of just like a worked out deal to get money for a little bit to, a little bit goes to Russia, a little kickback to Russia, a little kickback to Ukraine. George Bush had his little funding account, but it wasn't anything back in the day, right? But then I said the Clintons found it, kind of escalated it, used it as a little bit more of a political thing. I mean, inflation was growing at this time anyway, things were bubbling up, 1992 time period. So then Bush comes back in office, reworks his daddy's account and all that, and he's got his own little plan and all that, right? Then Obama comes, the thing skyrocket. Now we're sending billions to like Ukraine, like sending all this money to Ukraine. And then all of a sudden you see how crazy it's getting, in the political world. Nancy Pelosi's just like skyrocketing every time the money gets sent to Ukraine. Nancy Pelosi moves up in office.
It's not conspiracy. It's all tied. All the stocks and all that are all tied together with the president.
This is where it gets conspiracy-like. Now, again, I'm not saying that the people in Ukraine aren't living out real life, like they're not a part of Russia. This is what they're told. It's all in a sense propaganda. But the whole point is it only created propaganda because it's profitable. At any point in time, Russia could take back Ukraine, but they haven't. Why? Money. You're getting tons of money sent to Ukraine. You got this whole Burisma thing, and everything's tangled. You can take a little here and there. I mean, it's crazy. The whole thing is crazy.
That's what I'm trying to tell everybody, man. Everything's run by money.
What I was thinking, what I was thinking the other day or today? What if Taiwan was the exact same thing? And again, I'm not saying the people in Taiwan aren't against China. Of course they are. Hong Kong was against China.
They want to be their own thing.
Hong Kong was the same idea. Hong Kong was
thing,
Britain's idea of the whole thing. Hong Kong did the same idea with Britain. Now think about it. This is so great for China. They can here's some of the kickbacks China could get. We're allowed to put Taiwan, made in Taiwan, on things, even though they're made in China, because China is part of Taiwan. Because this whole idea is, you send money to Taiwan, we split money, take money. That's the whole point. But like China's, we can put, that's why you get all these things, same thing. What if all these little like things are just kick? We got to send all this foreign aid money. What if they're all just like funnel money? Is there any of it? I mean, I get it. Like,
I kept thinking for the longest time that all these, and maybe there are some places that actually do, give a lot of their money to these other charities overseas. But do you ever take a plane over to the other country to actually see if your money and your charity is actually going to where it's going to? Do you know that? Or what if it's getting put into a stock and that stock is making X amount of value of dollars, and then they're able to draw it X amount of dollars for themselves based upon that stock. A lot of these things come from nonprofits. A lot of these nonprofits actually make a lot of profit. And you don't know where that money's going to because here's the thing, even in America, you donate to a certain church, you get your money back, right? You can say, you can put on your taxes, I donate and I get my money back. Maybe it's based on state, but I mean, here in Wisconsin, you can get all your money back. If you don't, like, you donate.
Joe Biden must have promised a lot of money to China and Russia because look at it. I don't even get it. All of a sudden, China's like, we're going to attack Taiwan. I mean, why would China, of all countries who always act like we're going to do something, will do it?
Attack their industrial.
Talk all this about Taiwan, and now it's been months, and they really haven't made a move. It seems like, that's what I'm saying. It seems like it's just like, you owe us money, Biden. Start sending that money to Taiwan.
It's a paper tiger.
Yeah,
it's a paper tiger threat.
Now they're doing the same thing with Ukraine. Oh, start getting that money to Ukraine more because you owe us money for getting you in to office and all that.
Honestly, I could see.
Why in the world would voting? Why would you want so badly? You filibustered 300 some times while Trump was in office, and then you want to say the filibuster's racist now, and you want to get rid of it so you can move for voter reform because people can't vote. Except for we had more votes in history this last time. And you won.
It's because the lies are accepted more than the truths now. This is what people are doing, and they're gobbling it down. They're just like, oh yes, please lie to me more. This is exactly what I want. I want it to be whatever I want it to be, even if it's not the truth. This is what people actually want now. Most of the bad people, they want it because they don't want the truth. They don't want that. They want their side to win no matter what, and it doesn't matter. And the fact is, when people, this is how Hitler got popular. His people wanted him to win no matter what. Didn't matter. The cost didn't matter. And so when it comes down to the people that want their side to win no matter what, it's not that they're just. It's that they want to win.
Came out.
It just comes down to they just want to win. That's all it is anymore. They just want to win.
She's talking about with voter reform how it's so much of I don't remember exactly, so I'm going to misquote it. But it was something along the lines of like it's such like an insult, like an embarrassment to our democracy. We're not a democracy.
That's what I keep saying. We're not a fucking democracy. We're a republic.
Someone even said it best. They said, just transfer democracy for power, and it makes a lot of sense. For our power. And that's the point. You're taking away from our power. And
because
that's the whole point.
Democracy is mob rule. That's all it is.
And that's what they think because they're voted in office that they're mob rule. But that's what...
Republic supports the minority, too, with the majority. But it has a tier system, not a tier system.
And why would you want to end the filibuster when you can just go back to raising the count and using it, uphold yourself to have some class? How many times has the filibuster been used back in the day when it was first made to how many times it's been used in the last couple of years is absolutely disgusting. And even before that, it was clearly a snowball leading because you found some loopholes, as I'm understanding.
I don't know enough about the filibuster, but I guess... Is a filibuster where you can just stay in the Congress and keep talking and just delay something?
And a cloture and all this. You can just delay it, basically.
I always thought that there should be a reason for that, but I think there should be an acceptable reason. Like if you just start talking about your shoes and your socks or something like that, it's like
I think you should just raise
you're a little off
slightly.
Topic here. This isn't
simple-minded, but
as
far as I can tell, just raise the count. Don't make it just 50%. It needs to be or 2/3 or whatever for certain other things.
Honestly,
it needs to be higher for things because you're just wasting people's times and their taxpayers' money.
Honestly, blaming each other. See, the thing is, the way that the initial system was all set up, I think, is what we should stick to. And if anything's been changed, we should go back to that because the initial forefathers pre-thought the dangers that could attack the very thing that they were putting together. They put together a system that would protect itself. And it was and when you start reading most of this stuff and you look at the you look at the amendments and you look at stuff like that, you're just like, wow, that is pretty well put together. Sometimes you might see some other stuff where you're just like, I don't know. This is a little bit grayish area, but that's always going to be there. That's always going to be there with everything, because going forward with life, there's going to be new things. What if in the future there's people that want to live virtually and not physically? They want to literally live like the Matrix. They want to put themselves in a pod. They want to live virtually, but they have to have different rules for them, because who's going to take care of their bodies while they're living virtually? That's not written into the Constitution. How do we deal with that?
As I said before, when it comes down to like something like abortion, you can argue that it's tough. Stuff like that are very, very complicated, because I've seen such powerful arguments where they're talking about the baby sex and all this kind of stuff now, and they're like, you could hurt the baby's feelings, and it's like, so they're acknowledging the baby has feelings. But then they want to.
But then you worry about the whole Texas thing. They're like, they're making sure you can't have a abortion. No, they're making sure that if there's a heartbeat, we all recognize that as being born, and I honestly do as well. I believe 100% that makes sense.
There's a difference between what you choose to do and what the law is. I, for one, being of a person of faith, feel like it's instant. You don't do that unless you're trying to. Like you're trying to have a baby. If you have a baby, you're not trying to kill immediately.
But I'm just saying for the argument's sake, for argument's sake, for other people, it's like, does it have a heartbeat? Well, it's alive. Makes sense to me.
The point is,
I'm just saying, like, for argument's sake, I can totally agree with that. I can totally be on board with that.
I know we live in a sinful world, and the argument being is, this is a free country. This is, and I don't make the rules for it. This was chosen to be the country that generally tries to make things of freedom. So if somebody else is aborting babies or killing babies, I get it. Morally, I think that's wrong. I don't want to associate with that person. I don't, or maybe I can preach.
I understand.
I can preach.
But trying to come out and talk to other people about it when they're talking to you.
But should I be considered illegal and we lock them up? Well, that goes against the idea of thinking. Now it gets to a point, though. At what point? At 9 months, that baby's ready to come out and it's ready to live on its own, and you're still throwing it in the garbage.
But look at what happened with the Obama years. Look at what happened with that, where they would just leave the baby on the tray as it came out and let it starve to death. Isn't that the most cruel thing ever?
Yeah, there was some
that full birth abortions where the baby's coming out and you're like, I don't want it, and it just slowly starves to death. Do you know what one of the worst ways to die is starving? Is starving. And even though it's like connected to the umbilical cord, that is just fucking cruel and unusual punishment to something that here's the thing, it doesn't know what its past was. It doesn't know if that you were a rape victim or not. It doesn't. The baby doesn't know that. All it knows is that it's growing and it wants to live, and it wants, there perfect song, Pearl Jam song. Actually, it's not a Pearl Jam song. It's a previous song. I can't remember what it was, but he's singing about a child that's going to be born, but he was aborted, so he's never going to grow up to fall in love. He's never going to grow up to, find a life. He's never going to grow up to. I'm just saying, these are children who are never going to be able to grow up to do something amazing. All these children. What if one of these children grows up to cure cancer, or cure all these diseases and stuff like that?
You can't go into the what if factor.
Okay. Maybe not the what if, but the fact is that one particular child had a what if chance, and it's gone because the mother decided.
Is it gone? That's
what if it reincarnates back here? It's like, well, I didn't get my chance. I'm coming back again, and all that. But then the fact is, like, we come to a point that life only has so much value to it, and then you live to whatever you live for, and literally your whole life is YOLO.
So you get into that point. Life does have so much value to it. You start to think, like, what is it that you're trying to unlock? You know what I mean? You're never going to see the ends of the universe in this lifetime anyway. In this lifetime. So you get into the point.
I personally think this, and I personally think this is the answer to everything. But the fact is, it sounds very simplistic, and it sounds almost too simplistic for most people to really like understand and believe. But I think this is what Jesus was saying. I think it ties into that. But I think the fact is, God is trying. You know how other parents would say things like trying to live vicariously through you and all that. Not parents, but some people do that, and to some degree, I think God, and even what Jesus said, you are also a son of God when he was talking to the Pharisees or Sadducees. I can't remember which part it was, but I think God is trying to gain an experience and understand, is this good or not good? But we're all like sons of him, and we all report back to him and give him our experience. Yeah. And so when we give him our experience, all these experiences given back to him is going to give him the idea whether to say yay or nay. And I think the fact is, when we look at it from a yay or nay perspective, most of us say yay, versus most of not the other particular people saying nay because they see the horrible negative sides to it. But that's the fact. Like, if and I thought about this too. What if we had fate? Well, if we had fate, there's certain things I don't want to have to experience. There's certain things I sure didn't want to live through. But then why did I live through it? To learn and experience and to be happy now, 40 years later? Was that the point of life, to live half a life of suffering, just to live like a little part of life? I don't know how long I'm going to live for. But even look at Jesus. He lived most of his life helping everybody else. And then as soon as he stopped doing the miracles, they execute him, and everybody says he died for our sins. No, you killed him because he stopped performing tricks for you to give you free food. It's literally in the Bible. People just don't want to recognize it as that, because they want to say they want to say he did this for us because he's a part of God. And yes, that's true, but he also was trying to help us with things. There wouldn't be a Bible, there would be an Old Testament, but there wouldn't be a New Testament if it was just Jesus saying, just worship me and you're good, man, golden. And that was it. It'd be like a 5-page book. There would be nothing more to it. But the fact is, there's about 1,000 pages in the New Testament, which means that if this was a God experience for God or for us to report back, or just for us to have the experience so that we could be a part of the whole thing, like we're part of the tree, we're connected to the tree. Maybe we're not the trunk, but we're the branches, right? Is to have this experience where we're like connected that well, is to find a way to grow to fruit, seeds, plants, all that is well, shown in there, to fruit as much as possible, so that we can not just have the experience, but become the experience. So it's like, go ahead.
Do you remember? I mentioned this guy Anton Petrov before. He's really cool. Talks about sciencey type things. And I really didn't actually watch this whole video. I only kind of watched a few minutes of it. And
wait, tell me a little bit about it. I know you probably showed me that once.
Well, he does things like every week. He's always like, "Hello, wonderful people." It's pretty good actually. But he did this one thing about how they're kind of like learning now that there's these, like, I think it was hydrogen, something about like hydrogen burns. I'm really not fond. I'd have to watch it to do it justice. But basically, we live in these bubbles. There's like these planetary clusters or star clusters that are in these bubbles, and that's what seems to harvest. Like, they're not everywhere. You know what I mean? It's just like another intricate level of how life probably won't be able to form anywhere. Because he's saying like the planets that go around these suns are all in these areas. So it's because of something that happens with, and it's almost like a pattern. Like, you can see them of how there's like a bunch of planets in this area, and then it's like dead for a while, and then it's like more planets in this, and
this area that's drawing from. I kind of see it as this, like the area becomes the sun because it's drawing the negative space towards itself and is pushing out light. And all the outside space outside that gets very, very cold because it's like a vacuum being pushed into the sun and being shot out. Because I had to think about this a few other days, Brad, and I had to think, and I'm going to get off topic here for a second, but let me just tell you this. It's true. When you go out, you're going in. And when you go in, you're going out. It's the same thing in both perspectives. when you go in, you go out. And when you go out, you go in. Because when you go outside your house, you're going into the world. When you go inside your house, you're going outside of the world. You're changing, you're going through a different door, but it's
saying that out and in are not even so much as opposites as they are the same.
Exactly. It's like magnetism. You know, the energy that's drawing into the North Pole, it's getting sucked through the whole thing, shot out the South Pole and coming back. It's never really, it's never going away from it. It's always in a circle. It's always in a circle. It's a connecting circle, but there's a medium in between it. But our planet and everything is based upon magnetism to a huge degree. The Earth is, you might say, gravity, but it's really a kind of magnetism. We're magnetized to the sun, to a certain thing. We're always going around it. And the thing is, I think if the sun burns out, the planets will lose the magnetism and shoot out into some other way. But if we have another sun form that is one of our planets, then we'll start circling around that thing. I think the energy, it has to do with, but I'm just thinking like with reality in a lot of ways. You think you're going out of a door, but you're really going into a door. And you're going into a door, but you're going out of another scenario. But it's not like you were here and now you're there. You're still a part of both things. Do you know what I'm saying?
I see where you're going with this. In natural life, not necessarily going in and out, but like just the movement of time. It's really like a circular than it is so much of a. That's what I was saying before about time. You can't do time travel because that's what I'm saying. There is no previous past or future. It's gone. Like it's gone.
It's continuing.
The only way for time travel to be possible
1876 is happening right now at 2022. Right. 1876 and 2022 are moving at the same speed.
Well, no, it's only a singularity. Time is just a singularity. That's what I'm saying. The whole concept of like what we experience is just, there is no 1876. I mean, there really is no anything. It's because as soon as it's gone, we just have a special ability to be able to remember things. The brain has this ability. That's the really only thing of time. Time itself doesn't exist. But what we have is the ability to concept time, which makes memory.
And I find it fascinating
but there is
that Jesus
no time.
actually, I find it fascinating that Jesus actually mentions this in the Bible. And people don't even realize this. They don't realize that they look back at Aristotle, they look back at any of the old thinkers, and they talk about the fact that, what is time? What is the concept of it? What is all that about? Jesus says he saw Abraham before he was born. Meaning that outside of this realm, from what Jesus' perspective was, outside of this physical body, this physical construct that we're within, is that
I like this.
Everybody is outside.
No, the other way around. We're down the middle, just experiencing that linear.
Well, yes, but I'm saying outside the body construct, we're within a perfect circle of connection with everything. Versus within it,
you could just basically branch out of that whole.
We're broken
out of
into
that circle,
like a pie piece. The pie piece. We can see all the edge of the pie piece when we're not tied to this. But when we're in this, we're only one sliver of the pie piece. But on the outside, it's all one giant connect. It's all...
You can see the whole bubble. But that's what I'm
You can see the past, present, and the future outside of this reality. And that's what Jesus had to say. And other people that are famous scientists and famous historians and famous people try to come up with these ideas back in a day. They tried to talk about it back in a day. Jesus already said this in the Bible, and people didn't even realize this. They tried to kill him over that.
I'm making the prediction because we put out this new telescope. I can't remember the name of it, but
Hubble, Bubble 2000.
No, it's not the Hubble. The Hubble. I don't remember what it is. Either way. It's like almost like it's determined that if there's life out there, it will find it.
And they already says. Didn't it say there was so many multiple instances of possibilities? And
Now, this is what I'm calling. I'm calling it right now. You ready? There's nothing. There's literally nothing. And I think that's what's going to be. We're going to find out in our lifetime. That's what's going to be so exciting is that they're going to keep trying to say for a long time, like, well, we've searched everything within our entire Milky Way, and we found not
Well,
a
then why do they
single
talk about the
living.
spacecraft flying through the air and it's alien craft? And is it just them? It's higher tech they
I,
don't understand probably.
I think that that's like the whole point. I think it's going to be really, really fun to find out that there's no aliens, that there's literally only us. Maybe we might find previous things from us. Maybe we did live another time, but in the end, that's what we'll find, that it was actually just us.
That's what I always thought deep down inside is that these ancient aliens, ancient astronauts, really just us at a higher tech form of understanding how to
Yeah,
manipulate rock, how to understand how to manipulate quartz, how to manipulate gemstones and energy and the flow of the energy. And I think that's why they built all the pyramids everywhere. There was a reason for that.
I told you before. I think the pyramids. I think
It's
that
an
it was a,
energy. It's an energy vortex of some kind, or else it's a pimple popper, and it stops the volcanoes from going crazy and
I'm telling you,
changing
dude,
magnetism.
there's too many that line up with volcano ridges. And like I said, the most. All right,
But they
we
call them
see the
dragon
one.
lines, right? They call them dragon lines, energy
We
vortex,
see
energy
the ones
lines.
that line up perfectly from Egypt, the most common ones, and that's all lining up with Hawaii. I'm telling you, you put money on it. Draw a line through the universe, or through, or not the universe, excuse me, the Earth, where the Yellowstone is, the big geyser
Yeah,
that's a super
put a
volcano.
pin through your
Draw
globe.
that through, go
All
to
you
the
gotta
other
do is
side,
get a cheap globe, stick a large pin through it, and where is it gonna pop out the end if you
and
get it
you know
perfectly
where it
right?
goes? I think if I remember right, because I did, it's like east of India. But you know what's always there in that Australian deep water and all that? All those sharks and stuff, like dangerous. So they don't really go in that reef area. But I'm telling you, you put money on it. There's a big, big pyramid in there because there has
Probably,
to be. It has to
probably.
balance out that
Do you know
Yellowstone. That's why
why?
Yellowstone's not
Do
erupting,
do
because
you
that
know
pyramid's in there keeping
do you
it
know why
balanced.
the sharks are probably there? They're probably there because of the great whales. Great whales move around the world based on magnetism. If the
That's what I'm
pyramids
saying.
have
It's
a lot of
all.
magnetism in them, it might draw a lot of great big animals there, and the sharks will feast upon all
Yeah,
that
maybe
flesh.
maybe that's what I'm saying. Maybe
So
that's the truth of it. Maybe there is really an underwater Aquarius down there that's like a
possibly,
whole different, and that's what I mean. Like, I don't
possibly.
even know. Who knows? Who
Well,
knows,
I
actually.
don't know. Like I don't know all the details with this. I mean, sometimes it's what I'm talking about sounds fantastical, but then the next day or week, it's like they're telling me about this on the news. It's like I already fucking said that. It's like what? Okay, maybe I didn't have all the specific scientific,
Remember when they found all that stuff
technical
in
specs to
Cuba?
it, but it's like I have this. I have good gut feelings. When I was younger, there were good gut feelings as to who I thought was going to be popular, what I thought was going to be big, and most of them came true. Most of them came true because I don't know. Maybe it's the gut. Maybe it's I don't know. I always thought Pearl Jam was going to be really really big. I thought they were going to be all over the place, and they did. That was one of them. There were other ones, but I won't go into all that. But I'm just
Remember when I visited a band called Cartel once, and they were like really small, and they grew pretty big for a little bit. It's
hmm,
pretty cool. They did a
yeah,
band in
that's
the
interesting.
bubble, sponsored by Mountain Dew.
Yeah, I saw the
That band.
band Cold live when I was younger. That was a pretty good band with Puddle of Mud. And then they got bigger too, and I was thinking, yeah, that's going to get big. Some bands I could tell were going to get big, and some I was like, I like their music, but I just don't see them getting big.
Like
It just,
Fishbone, because I met the guy.
you what? Fishbone?
Fishbone. Ever heard of Fishbone?
Kind of heard of it.
Funny,
Yeah.
funny story with Fishbone. I was at a
But,
show and I was getting merchandise. I was there to see Slightly Stupid, and this black guy was wearing this suit, And I think I said to him something like, "You got to be hot in that suit," or like crazy. I was like, "You're crazy to wear that suit," or something like that. Like he was like, "You're probably sweating your balls off." I remember I was like also with these like random two twins in line, and I think they were like pretty girls. So he sees them, comes over and starts talking to us and all this, right? And we're talking, and he says, "I mean, what's your name?" And I said, "My name is Brad." And he's like, "Oh, all right, cool," you know. And that was when I didn't see him again. I was like, crazy black guy in a suit, yellow bright suit. And I'm thinking, you get weird people coming to these concerts and stuff like that. People smoke a lot of weed and all that, whatever. So all of a sudden, when we're in the audience, he comes out on the front stage. He's Fishbone. He's the lead singer of Fishbone. And I'm thinking like, oh man, like, I didn't even know, because he was like, "Who are you here to see?" and all that. And I was like, slightly stupid. He's like, "Oh yeah." And he played it well. Like, he played it smooth. So one of the things that me and my friends used to always do at every concert for Slightly Stupid was we would shout out "Date Rape." If you remember in Sublime, one of the songs, you ever heard of the "Date Rape" Sublime song?
I've heard some of their songs, but
Let me tell you about a girl I know, had a drink about an hour ago.
Kind of remember that. It's been a while. So, they don't play that music on the radio anymore.
On the CD, they start the song out by people in the live audience going, "Date Rape." And he's like, "All right, all right, all right." And then he plays it. So we would always do it, make like the CD, because if they could make the live CD there, you could buy it and you could hear it, and it would just be like so cool. They never did it. Yeah, right there.
Live CDs are really good.
They never made the live CD for this or anything. So we shouted out "Date Rape," like we always do. And a lot of people in the audience kind of like laugh, thinking like, I'm crazy. But you hear the sound of it and it takes you back to like the Sublime era, 1990. You get that feel, and it's just for fun.
Yeah.
So Fishbone sees me and my, because it's like the Electric Factory in Philly. It's not huge, but he sees me and we're fairly in the front shouting this out. So he looks at me and he's like, "All right." He's like, "Date Rape." He goes, "This one's for you, Brad." Looks right at me, but then looks up in the sky for Bradley Noel from Sublime, who wrote "Date Rape." And then they play the hell out of "Date Rape." They just nail it. Turns out, even for the tribute to Sublime, Fishbone was the band that made the "Date Rape, cover. So did I cut out? Did I cut out?
You're back.
So Fishbone did the "Date Rape" cover for Sublime for the tribute. They were like, that was the band to do it. I never even heard of them before, so I didn't know that was a thing, but it just flowed like really, really cool. I remember everybody in the audience was just so like, "Dude, that was awesome." Like can't believe how cool that was. We felt like we were at a Sublime concert listening to "Date Rape." Bum 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 boom 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 bum 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 bum.
Yeah.
Bum, 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 bum.
You know what made me feel really sad was that when I was going to go and see STP, I got some tickets to go see STP, and then things happened with my family and stuff, and I wasn't able to go and see it. Scott Weiland, then he dies, and I was like, I didn't even get to see him before he died. I was gonna go and see him. I saw a few different Pearl Jam concerts, and those were good. There was the one Pearl Jam concert, man, that guy will drink a whole bottle of wine. Oh my gosh, Eddie Vedder, he will drink almost a whole bottle of fucking wine on stage while he's playing. I cheered loudest at Alpine Valley. That was back in 1990 something. I don't remember. No, not 1990. Wow, that's way too early. 2000 something. 5 or 4. I don't remember which one it was. Maybe it was 6. But anyways, I kept cheering for an encore. I kept doing it. He came out 3 times. I cheered for 3 encores, and he came out for the 3rd encore. But then when I was cheering for the 4th encore, he wouldn't come out. I got the crowd ready to do that, so he'd come out. And I was singing to the songs while he's singing them, because I know pretty much every single Pearl Jam song there is.
You can sometimes tell too, like sometimes the musicians are having a good time, but you got to give it to them. I love to do that to the crowd.
But that's the thing. That's the thing with entertainment. That's even that's even why I like doing entertainment even on my channels, because people come by and I can.
I mean, like, look, I went to a Slightly
I can
Stupid
talk with them
concert
at the
one
same
time.
time that I'm being entertaining and all that.
You know,
I can give it back. And I love that with performers that do that. That they're like, do you want another one? What do you want? And then they're all up for it, instead of just coming out, doing their songs and be like, fuck off, see ya, I'm gone. I don't know if there's a lot of bands do that, but
no, I'm saying, like, I went to a Slightly Stupid concert one time where somebody threw like an eighth of weed onto the stage, and the guy picks it up and he's just like, let's get a bowl. And like they get a bowl off stage, like, and he just tokes it up in front of everybody, and he's like, it's like, not bad, like, and it's just like, you kind of have to get the feel though. Like, you can, people can make.
But that was the fun about
like
back.
a musician
dude, I'm just saying, like, what we're talking about now is like
in a crowd.
But dude,
if the crowd is annoying,
that was the fun of back in our day. With the grunge thing, we were very friendly with each other. We didn't even know each other most of the time. We were just extremely friendly because we wanted to respect each other, but we gave respect immediately, and then we showed respect back and forth each other. It was like almost a perfect scenario. Yeah, especially with a lot of rock concerts, I gotta say, rock concerts would bring out the beautiful in people that you typically don't see a lot of the time. And I'm serious. I'm serious. A lot of rock concerts.
Live 8?
I'm not talking about like heavy metal stuff, mosh pit stuff. I'm talking about like just the basic rock stuff, that people want to, be a part.
Did you ever hear of Live 8?
No.
Live 8. So they did this thing years ago called Live 8, and it was like all over the entire world. I don't remember what it was supposed to promote or anything, but a lot of famous bands, right? A lot of famous people. And this is the same time period that Linkin Park and Jay-Z collaborated. What year would this have been then? Like 2006, 2007?
That would be like 2000, early 2000s.
Linkin Park and Jay-Z.
Well, Jay-Z.
Well, I guess
maybe it would be. You might be right. I'm thinking early 2000s, 2000, the early decade of 2000s.
They were there at this thing, and we got to see them, And I think originally, Jay-Z was out first, and I think they played like in New York or something. In New York, it was good, and then it was normal. Like, I mean, it's outdoors. It's, again, in Philadelphia. It was like one of those, like, dude, there's like 1 million people here probably. Like, I mean, it was pushing it. There was like, it wasn't just like 100,000. There's like, whoa, like you're in a group. It's probably the biggest. I mean, obviously it's the biggest group I've ever been in. You know what I mean? I mean, there's like tons of people where like all the time you would hear someone's like, this person needs water, and like you get like people like pushing through everybody to get like, because people are passing out because it's just so tight fit and they've never been like that. And it's like,
yeah,
I get it. So and then all of a sudden, of course, it's like the waves you're getting thrown. Like, no, it's crazy. It's crazy. So
you got to be careful with things like that. I get too crushed, and you could,
Linkin Park. This is really the only memory I remember of Live 8 with everything. Linkin Park comes out as Jay-Z's already out, and they start the collaboration. All of a sudden I look around. I kid you not, and I'll never forget it because it was just so. They had to have planned it. They had to have like messed with. Just had to be like a joke somewhere, somehow, some way. But I look around, and everyone is like Asian now, and they're all going like this.
They're Asian.
Everyone around. I swear to you, no one was like. They were all white. Even though it was Linkin. I mean, it's a combination of. But then as soon as Linkin Park song comes out, you just hear this like, what the hell are you waiting for? And I'm not going to, rap like, dude, but it's like, I'm telling you, like, they like came up. It was, it was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a combination of.
But then as soon as Linkin Park song comes out, you just hear this like, what the hell are you waiting for? And I'm not gonna, rap like dude, but it's like, I'm telling you, like, they like came up. It was I'm telling you, I'll never forget it. Asians can be so funny sometimes like that. They just have a way. One time we were I was little and we were whitewater rafting. And I've never, whitewater rafted before down the Poconos, and I'm all excited and there's lots of different boats.
Why is it called whitewater rafting? Isn't that racist? Should they call it Asian water rafting?
I think it's just because all the bubbles are white, like, like white. Like it's just saying like it's there's like rocks and bubbles.
That was a joke, dude.
I've always thought that was a reason. Either way, there's like one or two boats of like all Asians, like, and
it's called Asian water rafting. Like, we're not doing whitewater rafting. That's racist. This is Asian water rafting. We're on an Asian river here. Yeah.
Different people do different things, and so it's like this whole family, and they're on their own boat or two. I think it must have had two boats because it's a big group, and like midway through it, all these motherfuckers pull out super soakers and just start spraying nailing all of us, driving past our boats, shooting us. So we're taking our buckets now, trying to like bomb them. Like it's the only way, attack back. And they're just like shooting us from boats and spraying us. They all came out of nowhere hitting us. It's so great. Like it's so funny.
Never had that on whitewater rafting.
Made the experience, over 20 years ago, and I'll never forget that memory of how all those freaking people came out of nowhere and just nailed us.
I went whitewater rafting when I was with some kids into school that was they weren't really great kids and all that, so I ended up doing like all the work to the point of exhaustion, to the point that almost like crashed multiple times later on because I was so worn out. We're going down like the rocky areas, and I was like, I just have no energy. Can you guys push? No, I don't know what to do. Like these other kids. I think if I go whitewater rafting, I want to go with people that actually enjoy whitewater rafting, not just having some kind of trying to have some experience. It's like
it'd be fun to do again. It was pretty fun.
Yeah, I like it. But school stuff. Schools never send kids whitewater rafting because some kids are just not ready for that. Some kids will jump off the boat if they see something scary. Some kids will just
liability.
Yeah, it's high liability.
Nowadays, a signature from a parent doesn't cut it. Like it's like, yeah, I know what I signed, but. Apparently, according to Timmy, his best friend, you guys went to the right when the intermediate was to the left. The expert was to the right. And my son has never even rafted before.
We're going to need another Timmy.
Yeah.
Why don't you stand here, Tim? While I stand David, behind this lead shield.
Abigail, Evan. They all fell off the boat and they all smashed their heads down the rocks. Zero chance. I don't even understand how it's expert. There's jagged rocks everywhere. It's not expert. It's just suicide. It's just a suicide route. Why did you take my kids that way? What were you trying to prove?
You know what? I've been to so many things like this. You wouldn't believe. Even this other school, there was a high school. And I was, what's the one before senior, junior? I was a junior at the time. And this other kid that was underneath me, he said he was an expert, skier and all that. I don't know shit about skiing. That was my first time ever going. I went down to Bunny Hill multiple times, and I'm like, oh, this isn't so hard. And so my other friend, who's not really he kind of turned into a friend of me in a way. But he wasn't really much. He was kind of a friend sometimes. He's like, "Hey, come up with me on a Black Diamond." Right after the Bunny Hill, I go down 5 times Bunny Hill. He wants me to take me up to the Black Diamond. He goes down the Black Diamond. He's like, "Come on, man, come on! Don't be a pussy. Go down to Black Diamond." And I'm like, "Okay, fine. I don't give a shit." So I go up to the Black Diamond. I see him go down to Black Diamond. 2 seconds, he disappears. He's gone. I'm like, where'd you go? So I go down to Black Diamond and I start going straight. I still don't see him. I go down the Black Diamond. I'm going like 60 miles an
Play you?
hour.
Did he just turn to the right and you did it
He
and he
just
never even
juked
did it?
off to the side. I never saw him again until I crashed. I'm going down 60 miles
You
an hour.
crashed?
Yeah, I
You
fucking
crashed?
flipped over on my
Oh, with
face.
skis, it's so scary. Did you hurt yourself?
Well, I feel my back. My back hurt like crazy, and I'm right underneath the turnstile where everybody's like getting pulled up, and I saw these girls going up. They're like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I think I'll be fine." But I literally went down. My legs pulled apart because of the force, and I just
And
flew on
then
my.
go to the
I flew on my face.
fireplace and meet
I
them
pulled my
afterwards
hands
for
forward. I
hot
flew on my
chocolate.
face, and I flipped over backwards, and I slid down like half the rest of the way, and I never saw this guy. And I'm just like, the first thing that my school lets us go to,
You
I
pussy,
go down to
dude.
Black Diamond because there's no supervision up there, and I could have killed myself. This has happened multiple times in school when I was younger, and I'm just saying, even when I was younger, they never had any seatbelts on the buses. You ever
One
wonder
time
why that was the
on,
case? They never have a
I
seatbelt on
hung
the
on.
bus.
It's ironic, actually. I saw that person tonight that happened, who is also Asian. I hung on the roof of his car one time, and he drove like 60 miles an hour, and I was hanging on the roof of his car. Thank goodness he was a good friend because I started to flip upwards, and I tapped, and he legitimately slowed down and did not like
He was a
think it was
good
funny.
friend, but he drove at 60 miles an hour with you on his.
Well, I was hanging on to the front. We were kind of seeing like how it would look in a movie if I was like, "Ooh." Should have videotaped some of these things when I
Do you want
did,
me?
but
Do you want to know that same friend I'm telling you about? When I was leaving the parking lot, I was already going at 30 miles an hour on the roof, and I hit
see,
the brake, and he flies off, and he falls on his ass. And I was
see,
just thinking, you know what? Fuck you. You deserve that shit for all the shit you pulled on me. And he
it was
gets
a
up, and
Dodge
he's like
Stealth
walking away. And I
that
just,
he had.
I just drive off.
See, no, no, but he was a good friend. It was a Dodge Stealth, and he slowed down and came to a stop, and like I could get off. I remember like telling this story to this girl one time, and she was like, "No," and she started driving and then just braked really hard, and I just like flew off the front of the freaking, and I like remember landing on my legs, and they almost like I had to like catch myself, but it was like you landed too high up, so you're like they're coming back to, what I mean? You're not like bending your knees and catching on the front of your foot. You're landing flat footed. So it like hurt, my
Yeah.
back, my knees. And I was like, what the fudge? I was like, I told you not to do that specifically. And she's just like, I'm sorry. And it's like laughing about it. It's like, I'm never talking to you again. Like, understand this. Like, I'm just, our
Well,
friendship's over because when I get hurt and you laugh,
it could be the thing that she thought if she went slowly, you might fall off, and then she just drives over you.
I
You're
don't
like
care.
stuck underneath her car, so maybe
She wasn't even
freaked out
supposed,
about
she
that.
wasn't supposed to drive. That was the whole thing. She was like, show me she's just a liar like that. Show me what you mean. And I was on the front. And then as soon as I got like on the front, she just started driving. And I was like, I tapped and then she like braked hard. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, you know what I mean? Like she just, I don't know. I don't talk to that person anymore. Like people like that you try to make friends with and then they're just like annoying.
They gotta be a car advocate person in order to do that. If they're not good, if they
Yeah.
don't like
Yeah.
driving vehicles around, they're not a sportsy kind of person with a vehicle. Just don't ever trust them with that kind of stuff. They're not gonna know what you want.
Yeah.
That's the way with that. I had a friend that was like a really good, you know,
It was a stupid story.
you
That
know,
was a stupid story.
yeah, we're into stupid stories right now. If you didn't know, but yeah, never had any good luck in school with any going out, going over here place. Only one story. Only one story. Went to the school drove to Connecticut, and I was able to read The Hobbit the whole way there. I'm a slow reader, but it was in the fall, and it was like I was experiencing the adventures as the characters are going through the Hobbit story as they're driving through the fall with all the different colored trees and stuff. Like that was the only good experience I remember, and it was just a basic. I'm reading a book. It wasn't like anything like when we got there. I mean, we did go up on stage, do a performance of some kind. but I don't have any good
I
school
like
stories.
I like mystery things. I don't know why the schools don't do more of these because you have an entire giant building filled with tons of rooms and so many fun things, but you never make the mystery murder where someone dies and you have to figure out who did it and how. Like everybody has a part to
You
play.
must have played a lot of Clue.
Well, that's what I mean. Like I no, but I did this once too. You know, it was like a whole house where you come in like you're a character and like one person randomly they get the character. It's like you're the murderer. You know, your name is this and this and this. You can still and you're here for this reason. Like it's a paragraph, you know, or two like a page of who you are, and you have to memorize this. It's like in the end, you're the murderer. You know, you killed the person. You were there, so you really do have to kind of come up with an alibi. And the whole thing is there's people in every room, and you know what I mean. So that's the whole thing. The whole beginning segment of it is like that, and then you know what I mean. Like it's a mystery, and you get to kind of snoop around and see if you can find the clues and this and that. And
yeah, they made some video games like that, but that'd be interesting if they did something at a school. I guess it'd have to be like a high school or something like that instead of
but you
kindergarten school. You know, it would.
They've made video games like that. You know, I'm so tired of this. It's interesting you say this because I'm gonna preach for a second. Just kind of got me in this. Just what you said right there about the video games.
Okay, if you're gonna preach, I will be listening to you, but I'd have to get a refill here. So.
Got me off topic with that. All right, I'm gonna put this then. Too many times we just kind of like enter into that, like, oh, well, the better plan is like video games, like bowling. You know, you've made a video game bowling so much, and people can do it, you know, on their phone and this and that, and people can do it on the Wii or whatever gameplay you have in that. People don't really go bowling much anymore. I mean, I guess the bowling alley was kind of crowded the other day when I went because there was schools and stuff like that. But we've done this with like everything. You know, I tried to play Battleship with my daughter, and I did it through using the phones. I was like, we can do it on the phones. Every single game crashed. Every single time. Couldn't get through one game. Yeah, the game crashed. And I seen, you know, people said it like, you know, oh, every comment from 3 years ago, this is the best app, you know, 4.4K. And I'm thinking like, yeah, it's true, you know, 3 years ago. But now all the latest comments are like, you know, I wish that they would do some updates because it just crashes every time. Like I can't do anything online with people, it crashes, and that's the end of it, like over. So either way, I was just thinking like, you know, it's a bummer. It's like Battleship wasn't broken. And I get the idea. It's like, well, you can make Battleship online and play anybody around the world. I get it. But I don't know. I feel like it's like Clue. I don't really want to play Clue against anybody around the world and ask them weird questions.
You want to play with people that are right there, right?
I want to play with somebody right there. Like that's the fun of it. You know, I can't even find the game Sorry. You know why?
That's exactly
Sorry without being in front of you.
Dude, it took a while, but I know maybe Go might be older than this game, but I've been wanting to find this for the longest time. In a fossil. This is
the guy who has some weird ass word.
This is pre-chess. This is where the Viking king would have to defend himself by attacking the attackers who are trying to kill him. So he has to get to one of those corners there, and he can escape. This is the game that the Vikings would play before it was chess. Basically, it was kind of like, it makes sense with chess too, because with chess you're trying to play two different sides, and you're trying to like see if your strategic forces are better than the other side. But in this game, whoever was the king, somebody probably wanted to kill him. So if they gained a force, they would attack. They would surround him, attack him, try to kill him. In this game, you would try to figure out how you can move around
So you're
to stay
already
alive.
getting the underhand, but that's almost the same exactly as chess, except for is every piece the same in that one, or is there different pieces?
If the king is the only special piece, everybody else does the same thing. They move around and attack, and you
What is
know
the king's specialty?
I can't remember. I think you can go twice, maybe, because you got a huge force coming around. You're surrounded on all sides. You got to
So
cut. You got to escape to
if the
safety.
if the if the brown gets the white, then immediately it's like they're dead.
If the
They
attackers kill the king, the attacker wins. If the defender gets to the corner, he escapes and he wins. Basically it's about not getting surrounded and pounded.
well,
When it
you're
comes down to
accepting
games,
sacrifice
when
for
it comes
sure.
down to
You're
games, it's like
admitting
that's what I do
you're
a lot of the
admitting
time.
sacrifice, almost a two-man barrier before the king can even go, causing
There is a little bit of
sleep
sacrifice
action,
there, yeah. But the same thing goes for the attackers. There's a sacrifice for the attackers. Some have to.
But how do the attackers die?
It's been a while since I played a game. I gotta look at what the directions are. But I'm saying like the
Sorry.
no. But what I'm trying to say is the initial game when it came out and they found this. It came out not too recently, but kind of recently. They didn't even know what the directions were for the game. There were no instructions for an old game. They just found the board and try to figure
Especially when
out.
you open that board, all the pieces magnetically went to the center, and all of a sudden you're like, you're the king, and everybody's like, ah, you're like, it's a game.
Yeah, it's interesting.
That would be a much faster Jumanji. The person who would come out of that game when the next person would play it, 30 years, and I'm out of the game. And so first person you see goes, who are you? He's like, stab. I have a lot of people to kill and take control of this country.
Jumanji from a magical perspective is kind of a fucked up game. I'm just saying,
I will admit though,
you got to stay there forever if you don't survive.
Great movie, but it's such a great concept of a movie. Great movie, Jumanji. I love it.
It was a good movie.
Smart.
It was a good movie. What do you think? The new movie and the old movie? I think both of them were good.
I don't even know if I watched it. Is that with The Rock?
That was with the hot redhead and The Rock and Kevin Hart was in there.
I don't think I watched it. Honestly,
I think that was pretty good.
Look, I'm not a big fan of The Rock. It's not that I have anything really against negative to say. I think even for the most part, he's generally like a nice guy. I don't really like the movies he chooses or the character he chooses to play, which is him. I just don't really like him. You know what I mean? It's like, nothing, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's just like, I guess you get to that point where it's like, just don't like the person. Seems arrogant and, you got to work hard all the time to get what you want. Preachy and.
But that's how this world is set up in a lot of ways, and makes sense when I watch.
I mean, look at him. He's the example of like, if you work hard, you can be like Hercules. Like.
Yeah, but that's the whole point. Like, you got to look good, for the most part. It's like even with it's like you listen what Deadpool said when he was Ryan Reynolds was saying in Deadpool too. He said, "Did you ever hear David Beckham sing?" It's like. What did he say? It was fucking hilarious. If you ever hear David Beckham speak, it's like watching two girls, sing with marbles in her throat or something ridiculous. It just came down to how the guy looked. David Beckham, how he looks, how he talks. You don't want to hear that. It comes down to how they look for the most part. And
I'll have to look this up because I really don't even know. A song by David Beckham. I mean, I guess I know the name, but I can't
type in the quote from Deadpool about David Beckham.
No, yeah, I've heard this before.
I'm just saying, like, when it comes down to things, sometimes it does come down to how you look, especially with actors and stuff. I was looking into Ryan Reynolds' diet, and I'm gonna give that a go. I'm gonna give it a try. Now, I won't look exactly like Ryan Reynolds, but.
See the thing with Jordan Peterson one time where he's like, I eat nothing but like water, meat, and salt. Jordan Peterson once said that. Maybe
he's on a keto diet where he's just eating.
You took it out of context or something.
I can't eat just meat. It doesn't work for me. It's just like I'm too just stuffed. I gotta. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut out the soda. I'm gonna cut out the sugars, and I'm just gonna focus on the lighter meats. Water. But the thing is, I will have beer. I love beer. This is some. My grandpa told me growing up.
Nothing
He says
wrong with
it's.
beer.
My grandpa told
Have
me
beer
it's
for breakfast. It'll change your life.
My grandpa told me it's better to have beer than soda. Beer is healthier for you than soda is, and it's just like okay, but you can't drink it all the time. It's
thousands of years. I mean, for this.
But then everybody says this is like all the toxic stuff for you. If it's toxic, what? Should I be dead by now? I've been having beer for years. If beer is
toxic, then so is bread. Guarantee it. If beer is toxic, then so is bread.
And everybody has bread for every single meal now. Every single meal now.
The keto diet people are like, well, yes.
I'm having soppressata for a snack.
I'm not a big soppressata fan, actually.
It looked good when I got it, and it tastes okay right now, but
I'll tell you
why. I'd probably choose a different meat.
If you go to Italy, I mean, I've never been to Italy, but if you go to like Europe, because I've been to Spain, you've been to Germany. That's why I said Italy, because I was thinking Europe, but I was thinking the E in the German, so I just said Italy. But either or, I would assume Italy's probably even the best. I mean, Spain would probably argue, but
my ex wanted to go to Italy, but I'm like, neither of us speak Italian. What would be the point? We'd have to have a translator all the time, or be in a group. Like, they're not. Here's the thing. Like, even when I was down in Brazil, the girl I was with, I mean, you go to another country, people will scam you. If you can't speak the language, you could get taken for a ride, for whatever, because you don't speak the language. No, I'll speak English. You know what I'm saying? I think you know what I'm saying. You're on mute. You popped out. You popped back in. What?
It freaking took me off of my phone connection earlier, and I just left it because it made a smooth transition. I didn't want to cut again to go back. But then it cut off again. It's weird.
I'm just saying, it's like you
go to Italy?
But I'm just saying, like, she wanted to go to Italy, and I'm like, we don't speak Italian. I mean, Ireland would be perfect because they do speak English there quite readily. And it's a beautiful place. You know what the fact is? I took her to Ireland. She was mopey most of the time. It was like the most depressing thing I ever did with
So
I won't go into more detail, but like, I enjoyed it. I had fun. I saw the castles I wanted to see. I went to the place I wanted to see. I had my friend there. We did a lot of fun stuff. I enjoyed Ireland a lot. I'd go back as many times as possible. But I mean, if I spoke Italian, I'd love to see Italy. But the fact is, I don't speak a lick of Italian. What would be? I need a translator, and then I'd have to trust the translator, or I'd have to pay for a translator to come around, or I'd have to go on a bus.
200 euros. 200 euros.
Yeah,
that's what he says. What was that transaction you just did with him right there?
You went to Spain.
I'm
just saying. But you went to Spain, and your wife speaks Spanish, and I guess you probably do.
Well, I went to Spain. Alberto, my brother-in-law. He's from Spain.
But I'm just saying, you have somebody that knows something, so you're not just going to a country with somebody else that doesn't know anything. When people travel to another country, they don't know anything.
So let me tell you, if you go to Spain and you try Iberico ham right off the leg, aged probably 24 months, I mean, you're going to just basically be like, I don't really like American meats. Like, American meats try to be fatty. They try to crank this out and get you that like taste. Mm-hmm. I don't want you to get me that taste. That taste comes. I want that taste. So, um, no,
She
but I'm just
wants
saying,
she wants some of that right now, right?
I've had lots of different kinds of like meats, and I tried this one meat the other day. It said like a dry cured chorizo, and when I first saw it, I was like, oh, they got some stuff from Spain, and turns out it was from New Jersey, and I was like, let me try it. Excellent. I thought it was really good. I mean, they put all over it like we try to make this exactly like the Spanish recipe and this and that, but it was really good. And I was like, they definitely took the effort and time to make a good product. I guess that's what I'm saying. Like, one of the most annoying things about American culture to me is that it's like a good idea to crank out a cheap, fast product that people like cheese. That's what I'm saying. There's no reason we can't produce
This is
excellent
the reason
cheese.
I'm telling you why corporations
But
are so
no,
bad.
Americans are known for what do? We combined like baking soda with cheese and found like a way to make like a new American cheese. Like it was like such a weird thing that it was something we added so weird into the cheese
That's what I'm
that they
trying to
were
say,
like,
man.
whoa.
It comes down to the corporation. It comes down to when it comes down to the corporation, it gets rid of the human factor and puts in the money factor, and that's all that matters. Cranking it out, making the money, the taste, the experience, all that out the window. Nobody cares about that anymore. All they care about is how many dollar is it bringing in? Is it able to get out more? Because that's what they say. Can I get out more food to everybody else more than you can? Well, then I'm going to make more money. And then
Right.
that's what they do. And they don't care if it tastes
because
better or
because
not.
because the first person says, "Oh, I tried it. Not that bad. It's not as good as the good stuff." But
Not
wait,
that bad.
cranking that stuff out also made you able to keep the prices lower because you're able to sell the more. So all of a sudden, not that bad, and it's only $2 compared to the good stuff at $7. So I'll just get that again, and before you realize it, the $7, I'm losing money. I can't $13.
Yeah, but
Or
that's
now
where
it's
we're going. That's where we're
$21.
going wrong as Americans, and this is what we used to do. We used to support the local people that were here that did an amazing job, and then those those people, we would be like, hey, you want good Italian food? I just had good Italian. Well, I had good Italian food a few days ago. I had what was it? Starts with an M. It's like a lasagna, but like with the
Mario. I thought you were talking about the restaurant name.
Mochesto. What is the name for that plate? It's like a lasagna, but why am I forgetting it? I don't know. It's like a baked lasagna with cheese,
Mozzarella.
mus mustretto or something like that. I can't remember the name, but
Maserati.
yeah, I ate a baked Maserati. Very metally. um, actually, I got the thing over here. I could look at it, but I'm just gonna. It's huge noodles, like long, big noodles with cheese, and all the lasagna bakings inside of it, topped over with a meat sauce. Oh my gosh, the way that they put it together, it was so good. I'm just saying, like these local places that actually put this stuff out there, like you're not gonna find that in a Campbell's soup. You're not gonna find it in some major
Business
corporation trying to put
business is
like some
booming
McDonald's putting out. It's like, yeah, you
for
get a small taste, but you
Domino's.
always wonder why you're always hungry after you eat after McDonald's. It's because
Look,
your stomach wasn't satisfied.
because you ate cardboard. No, but I'm saying business is
Exactly.
booming at Domino's and stuff like that. But then if you were a pizza place that opened up the pizzas where you're like, we get this thing at 900 degrees, it costs a lot of money to keep that thing going at 900, but this is the legit pizzas. They take 2 minutes in the oven and they're out and they're cooked. This is how the original pizzas were made. This is a real pizza oven, you know, but the pizzas are like $25. They'll never stay in business. Even though people try it once and they'll be like, gosh damn, that pizza's good.
Yeah.
It won't stay in business because people always have this is a problem with food. I can acquire that taste for years. I don't have to have it again. Years I don't have to take. I can eat that wagyu and I don't have to eat it for years again. It's not addicting. Food, isn't really that addicting. Good food isn't really that addicting. It's almost appreciated. It's not addicting. Junk food is actually addicting. It's actually addicting.
It's addicting. That's why they put more sugar in it. That's the reason why you're hungry after McDonald's, because there's more sugar in that quarter pounder than there is in any other quarter pounder you'll ever probably have anywhere else.
With all the salt we put in it, we have to put sugar to sweeten it up.
And sugar, both a part of that diet right there. And you're just like, well, why am I still? Because your stomach's screaming at you like, what am I dissolving? This isn't anything that I even wanted. There's nothing in here that I even want.
I've never been a big fan of any kind of multiple animal product. Like, imagine if
you never had a turducken? Oh my God!
No. That's not what I mean. Okay. That's not what I mean. Yeah, not about that. No. Like
I know a guy.
When you get ground beef, chances are you're getting like 5 cows, maybe more.
Yeah.
When you're drinking milk, that is multiple different cows' milk put together. You're not getting one cow's. I never liked that. You know what I mean? I know it's almost impossible with milk, but I always felt
I gotta stop you. I gotta stop you real fast. But when I was younger, I have some cousins that owned a farm, and when they milked one of the cows, they put it in a glass bottle. They would, put a stopper in it, and it was just from one cow. And I always loved going to their farm to have the milk from that one cow, because I was a kid, and kids love milk and all that. But it tasted really good. Now when I'm older, every time I get milk from the store, even if it's organic, sometimes it's like, I don't really like this very much. I don't know why, but I'm not like into milk like I used to when I was a kid.
But it's like everything. I'm just saying, it's like everything. You go and buy some white sugar. It's that mostly like that sugar beet sugar and stuff like that, and it's just like thousands of sugar beets being processed down and making it. And to me, it's just kind of like it misses the mark. It misses the mark of it. Like the whole point is like you're supposed to go and pick the best one and make that, and that's the sugar that you'll use when you know what I mean, like and the other ones like I don't know, you know what I mean. It's just I don't know. I'm just saying like everything of joy is gone. You know what I mean? Like
that's a sad thing, because do you know how many Christmas specials were out there when we were kids and we'd see all these things, and there was just people put effort into things when we were younger. And it's not saying we did because we were kids, but I'm just saying like now that we're older, we just don't see this anymore. It's just like everything is just about a way to sell something, to make money. And yes, those people that made Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, those people that made those Christmas specials, those people that actually put time and effort into the food that they made, and actually had something real for them. Yes, they did make money, but they actually loved what they did, and they didn't try to do it to just focus on the dollar. That was the saying. The love of money is the root of all evil. But when you focus on the product that you're doing and the pride that you do to give it to other people, that's what they used to do, and that's why we loved it, and that's why it was good. Is because they actually cared about what they were giving to you.
They always parade that in other countries. You go to these other countries. Look at this place in India that's been serving the same soup bowl for 50 years. Like, look how even the slop over, and it's like nothing gets clean. And everybody's probably just thinking like, oh, that's just. I mean that, but that's no different to me than what you were saying about the Vikings all spitting into the cup and sharing it. More and more I keep, but the more and more I keep thinking about it. But
that was actually to give diseases to each other so they all had the same disease. So they all could fight the same disease.
And I was thinking about that the more and more I keep thinking about it.
It's in the 13th Warrior. If you actually want to see a little bit of a reference to it, you can actually see it there in the 13th Warrior.
It's very strange.
Sneeze, and they spit into it, and they shoot back in the bowl and give it to someone else.
People are very like, I don't know. It's getting very strange anymore. It's like really they
and now
like a mess.
I got my mask on. Don't come anywhere near me, otherwise you're gonna give me a germ. I'll die.
But it's everything. Hey, let's all have pasteurized milk. Ever since they got some bad cows, and somebody was like, let's put bleach and stuff in the milk to try to solve these problems. It wasn't bleach. That sounds like a Trump quote. They put like white. Look, the cows weren't able to get. You don't know.
You
don't
told
know
everybody to drink bleach.
but you don't know this whole story though. The whole reason is the cows were making like bad milk. It was like an off color. Wasn't even like the milk was really bad, but it was an
Sure, they
off
were
color. It was
milking
like
a
a
cow
bluish.
and not a bull.
It was like a bluish color. No, it was because the cows like didn't have
This
access
udder
to
is really long.
good grass or something.
Takes a
like
while
that.
to get out the milk here, but it comes out and goes.
So they were adding things to make it white, to make the milk white. In which case, it started making people sick. So Louis
So they
Pasteur,
added bleach to it?
No, well, they didn't have bleach to it.
Well, bleach makes everything white. I've heard that bleach doesn't really kill anything; it just covers it up.
So Louis Pasteur learned that if you cook everything, you're fine. You killed all the bacteria.
That's why when you wash your dishes, you put them in hot water. Hot water pulls everything off all the time.
But what's the problem about killing all the bacteria in milk? You've killed all the bacteria. It's literally
all the good bacteria.
It's just liquid now. Protein, sure, it's still got its protein.
Is that
that's what I'm saying.
Skim milk? Is that skim milk? I don't know anything about the whole process.
Well, milk just like separates in fats, and they make it differently by allowing it to sit to separate more.
Oh, so the fat like raises to the top, or
eventually, yeah,
lowers to the bottom, or
fat raises to the top, yeah, for the most part. At least I think they do it. You know, they just keep separating it out.
There's people that have had. When I was on a particular dating site, there's people that were like really avid for, I think, Pasteur's ways of thinking about science, and I can't remember what it was about, but it had something to do with Pasteur, actually.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, to me, pasteurized milk is just dumb. I mean, you've heard me before talk about this whole thing that cows are, for the most part, like passive animals. So that's why they want us to eat the cow, eat and drink the cow, even because passive is what they want. We are what we eat.
Don't become passive as you eat the. Don't eat the wolf.
Because
don't eat the wolf. You become.
You're not supposed to eat the pig because it's unclean, and that's what I mean. You don't want to eat that and be unclean.
You know what happened long ago? Chance of lycanthropy would come in some situations where people, and I think they ate wolves, but they would wear wolf clothing, and they would go out and attack random people and become cannibals. But it's probably because they thought they were wolves, because they ate the wolf, and it became more wolf-like.
You become more aggressive. I mean, well, that's what I'm saying. You become the entity of what it is that you consume. And that's what I'm saying. When you consume,
and that's the crazy thing that's kind of true, but it's so hard to digest for people. It's so hard to digest. People keep thinking we're not the sheep. We're the predators and stuff. No, you're herd. You're a part of the herd. Yeah. You eat the cows all the time. You eat the pigs. You eat the pigs that are part of the herd. You're not eating the wild boars. You're not eating the predator animals. You don't eat that. You eat the turkey. Almost every single thing you eat is prey. Almost nothing you eat is predator. What do you eat that's predator? Do you eat alligator?
You got it.
No. Do you eat wolf? Do you eat bear?
Go get some alligator. No. You can get all that. You can get that boar and that bear. They sell it at Cabela's. Oh, wait. It's like 90% still chicken. And they add a little bit in there.
Do you eat snake? Do you eat... No. Almost every single thing that you eat on your diet is prey.
Prey.
It's all prey.
And that's what they want you to eat. You know, all right, so this happened. This is why I got into this whole topic originally, what I was talking about. My daughter was trying to make a face cream, right? And she added milk and honey and blueberries, but it was way too runny. So she's like, what can I use to thicken it up? So I said, why don't you add some oatmeal? Oatmeal's okay for the face, but it was still kind of runny. So we couldn't decide what to add, and I went upstairs.
Did you mulch it up into a powder and then put it on there, or what did you do?
She chose to add these wilting flowers that we had. Probably, I assume, carnations and daisies, right? Was what they were. And I looked it up because I was like, I don't want you to get, excuse me, an allergic reaction or anything if you use this on your face. And it's almost like it's saying like helps like aging spots sometimes, And I was thinking, I was like, for thousands of years we gave flowers. And I feel like for thousands of years we probably knew that the people took those flowers and then like took them apart and like grind it up and made like nice things with them and stuff. Like, thank you, this is great, used it no different than we used the fruit and eat it, that they took that and made nice perfumes. They didn't just let it sit in a pot and then rot away and then throw it in the trash. That would be dumb.
Of course.
They took advantage of these nice smells.
What do animals eat out there? You think deer are just walking around just eating little tree branches all the time? They're eating flowers. They're eating everything they see because it looks nice, and so they eat it. It's very much like a cake. Do you know how people will sometimes set up a cake in their dining room? They're like, that looks too good. I don't want to eat it. But if it looks beautiful, it's beautiful to eat. And so some animals will literally eat it because it looks beautiful.
Saying like for thousands, somehow we've gotten this society where, again, it's like, oh, dandelions are weeds, except for they're not. They're another flower that's just a bit more evasive. Why? Because maybe the world needs dandelions right now because the ground's getting tilled out too much.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing with that.
Do what its job is.
Here's the thing with that. This is nature versus. This is nature versus civilization and stuff. Civilization wants you to cut down all that stuff so that you can't rely upon anything nature-wise. You have to go to the store to buy the food, to buy the remedies, to buy the things you need. You cannot grow it on your own property. That's why you have to cut all your own lawn to a certain level, even though it just seems like, why do I have to fucking cut my lawn? What's the point of that? Well, there's going to be snakes. It could be a snake. No, that could be a thing. I understand that. But you could grow your own fruit and stuff in your lawn, and then you don't have to go to the store. But the thing is, the stores are there so that you have to rely upon the junction of the store that's tied to the system, that's tied to the people that run it, so that it makes sure that you are tied. Because here's the thing. Two things that run our lives. Food and money. Who controls both?
It was like little things.
Who controls both? Who controls both food and money?
God.
How do we live?
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
See what I'm saying? Back in the day, we would trade this for that. And then if we had to like trade something else, like a coin or something like that, then it would get minted and I don't have enough, but I have enough coin.
The Emperor's seal is good here. I'll give you half.
It breaks in your mouth. It's not real, right?
What's the brown stuff inside? Taste it. He's
Oh, that was the chocolate coins I was supposed to say for myself. I'm sorry. I meant to give you the real coin. Oh, no.
The person will take... Imagine if we've gotten into like that world of real idiocracy but like nobody can make chocolate anymore. And you get these and you're like, is that what I think it is? And you're thinking like, are they going to think it's real gold? It's like, is that really chocolate? And it's like, I'll give you this gold for it. And I haven't had chocolate in forever. It's like
one of my favorite parts was in like, no, come over here. You don't want to take your car. Why? The police surround a car. We're surrounding you. Put your hands in here. You're not putting your hands in. You shoot up the empty car and blow it to hell. And then they
Why though?
The police blow up his empty car. They shoot it up to hell.
But why did they?
because he wouldn't put his hands in the air. They didn't even know who was in the car. There was nobody in the car. They shot it up anyways because there was nobody to put their hands up, and I didn't see anybody put their hands up. They were that stupid. It was like, they're that stupid, but they're also that brutal. Like, they'll do... Also, the worst thing was when they put him in a car with the big dildo that was driving around. They're like...
No, it's just... Like I said, though, it's just... Everything in life anymore to me is just so weird.
Why is it becoming like that movie? That movie sucked. I liked a little bit of it, but it was like not an amazing movie, you know? It was just like, oh, I hope that our future isn't like this. And then I'm looking around and I'm just seeing people just acting almost identical to this. It's like, you can't be fucking serious, right? You do check your facts. No, you don't check anything at all. You just believe everything you're told. Oh, okay. Yeah, we're going to idiocracy. This is our life.
I can't believe that. I just don't even like. I mean, most likely, we're literally getting our protection from the country that gave the virus, and taking our advice on what to do about it from the guy who started it.
Yeah. And the thing is, everybody's been told like to fear Russia, and they're the ones that are like, fucking virus, whatever. We're not doing any of that shit.
Well,
and it's the very person that we think we're supposed to be afraid of is the one that's telling everybody not to care. And I'm like, see, initially when this started happening, I prepared everything. I stocked up. I made sure I had my medical supplies. I made sure I had everything. I made sure I was like making sure I had my extra vitamins and stuff like that. Because I'm serious about, like, if it was a real virus, like we're bleeding out of our eyeballs and we're falling on the ground, we're turning into zombies. Like, no, that's not. I'm not doing that.
Look. Here's the thing.
But this wasn't that.
This is all I'm trying to say. This
wasn't that.
Nobody's invading the United States because there's no advantage to it. You can be like, oh, we'll take all the resource and strip it down. But at this point, everybody knows you really can't do that. You'll kill the planet and therefore end up dying. And we all die anyway. So, like, there's no legacy.
The thing is, nobody wants
any of this.
No, but here's the thing that people want to.
And the amount of effort it would take to enslave everybody to make some crazy. What are you going to do? Build another bigger pyramid? Like, it's, like.
The same, dude.
Nobody
wants to invade. Here's the thing. Nobody wants to invade Russia. Nobody wants to invade the United States. And nobody wants to invade China. You know why? You're probably going to die, and then there's no point to it. It was even a joke in The Princess Bride. What was it? Only fools go to war in a land war in Asia, because you're going to die. You're not going to live. But you want to make a massive move, you're probably going to die. These are super countries. You don't want to do that. It's too much.
The beginning of every old style movie is like, from the medieval times and whatever and all that. It's always this. It's just a nice. Everything's going his way. Then all of a sudden, the big evil government comes along and destroys everything. And then they're like, move it along. We run this town now. And, fight back and build an army and all this and that. And, and I'm just thinking, what is the, maybe government is 100% dumb.
I've listened to other people that said government is 100% evil, but it's a part of a necessary system. And the fact is, if you come from a medieval time of being a baron, owning a castle, saying, hey, you should do this, you should do that, you should do this, you should do that, and as long as everybody does what they're doing, you could all eat for free. It gets to a point that you're micromanaging too much, and then you become this kind of system in a way, and but then at that point you also become evil because you have to control everybody, and if people don't obey you, The system goes to hell. You become a super family and a super system, and then it turns into what we've got today in some ways. Now, you might say, oh, communism better. Communism is the same shit. It's just a different platter.
But what's stopping us from choosing to become a fair democracy? Now,
there is no such thing as a perfectly fair democracy, because everybody's definition on what fair is fucking different.
What did you do there? Okay, you did what any schmuck would do. No such thing as a perfect fair democracy.
But that's what I'm saying.
A perfect anything.
I'm not just saying that any schmuck would do it. Some schmuck will come up and say, well, this ain't perfect for me because I'm the gong farmer. I shovel shit for a living. Where's my extra pay? I don't want to have to do that. This person bakes bread. He gets paid $8 an hour. I shovel shit every day. I work with the plumbing. I get paid $8.
So why not?
I should get paid more because my health is at stake. His isn't.
Why not?
This is where
why not create a very, very complex system? Now, I'm not saying this is something that would take a day or a week. It would take years of very, very fair.
Make an AI algorithm that could try to.
No, it's not an AI. It's not intended to make any decisions. That's not the point of it. I'm saying
you can make a system to build it.
It's only intended to manage money. And in a sense,
but money is what is money? It's just value, right? It's value. It's like these pair of shoes are worth $20 worth compared to your 20 apples that you want to sell me, right? It's value.
Okay.
What do you want to trade for? What do you want to trade?
Okay, but listen. What else is government but money?
Well, government is managing your
no.
Value.
You'll argue government. Listen, you'll argue government is law, right? That's what you could say. Government is law. But is it law? No, people is law. You see, a long time ago, people, and that's what I'm saying, we're coming back around into the same understanding now that George Washington and these original people is law. And it only chooses, people will choose what to follow. In fact, you get judged in front of a bunch of peers. Now imagine, I'm just going to use the extreme example because it's the easiest way in today's society. If there was 12 black jurors on a jury who grew up in a civilization of actual oppression, and they've dealt with many racist issues that do happen, and then they all get put on a jury and there's a racist guy who's on trial being white, and it's a clear-cut case, that they have used passion for it. You have and where am I going with this? I'm just saying,
a bit of a prejudice with it's situation, right?
The whole thing is we are in a sense that idea of judging our peers. We choose, this man's guilty. So the law doesn't reside in the government. The law resides in the people. The people end up determining what we consider is the law.
That's why. The law. That's why when I read the Bible and I read the New Testament, and I read it a lot, you can read it as well, Jesus and a lot of other systems put it into the fact is, what do the people believe? Not what one system or whatever, what do the people believe? Because it brought it back to the people having control of that system. And with what we have with our country, there's a reason why people flee and run into our country. Stop doing that. Build that into your own laws. Stop running in here, leaving all the bad people to be in your country, screwing over the people that you left behind. What I'm saying.
Okay, so what if it was the other way around?
Put those things into the laws in your country so that you don't overpopulate us and overburden us with okay, well, we'll give you an extra whatever amounts of money because the thing is, we're giving people. Here's the thing: when people flee in our country, we're giving them free value. For what? Where is this money coming from? It's just coming out of nowhere. The value that I'm trading for somebody that
America's value
asylum into our
country. What
America
chooses the value.
I'm paying it in taxes for somebody to just jump a fence and go, "Hey, I'm here now."
That's racist.
For what? Somebody jumps into your backyard and says, "Hey man, I'm here now. Give me your pool. Give me your fridge." You're like, "I just bought that." I just got here, man. I need something. I'm hungry. What did people do back in the day? Back in like Viking day, in the Viking area, people go to other people's houses. If you were a part of the Viking society, you couldn't turn away a person that was wanting to be a part of your house. If someone said, they needed a night to rest somewhere, you would give them lodging in your place. Unless they were, you thought they were going to kill you, then you might go to war with them and you might kill them. But I'm just saying, like, you would have to give them what they wanted to be a cordial person, so you could be looked upon as a respectable person. We don't do that anymore. We don't do that anymore as people. If someone just came in your house and say, "Hey man, I got no place to stay for the night. Can I stay on your couch?" Would you just do that? Is that a part of American society anymore? Do we do that? No, we don't do that. We don't do that.
But we also have a time period where the houses were like more in a village where if somebody would scream, the entire neighborhood would like come outside and be like, "Yo, what's up?" Nowadays, if somebody screams, the other person will like hit the door and be like, "Keep it down," or call the police. And it's like when the police will arrive 20 minutes later.
I'm just saying with the way the world is with corporations and things like that, we're so hands off. We're hands off. It's someone else's problem. Someone else can deal with it. Homer Simpson did it best in one of those episodes. Can't someone else do it? We become that. It's almost like The Simpsons is a predecessor to what we should become. Can't someone else do it? I don't care. And now we don't care, and someone else does it because we call someone else to do it. It's their problem. We don't have to do it. The fact is, we become so big that we just feel like we can only do one thing in our life, and that's it. We're done. I am a this, and that's all I am. I don't do those other things. I don't have the jurisdiction to do those other things, so therefore I cannot do those other things. In the past, in medieval times, you were a warrior, you were a soldier, police officer, cook, butcher, forager, farmer, all the things that you could possibly be to stay alive. And now what do? Someone's in danger. It's not my problem. I'm in danger. It's not anybody else's problem. I can't fight back in some states because they don't have castle ground, so you can't just shoot them. You gotta fucking run away. And guess what? What if you're disabled? What if you don't have a foot and you're hopping around and they start fucking 100 feet away from my house before I can blow his head off with my gun? I can't do that. The ridiculousness of what we have now is just we become such a particular tiny little aspect of what we could be. We could be everything, but we chosen to be one sliver, and it's wrong.
You're
pausing out here. The policies of whatever. I'm just saying,
you're not really supposed to engage in a person who's stealing because they could have a weapon and they could hurt you, and that's always more, bad than. Okay, so what about this? What's the policy if somebody takes a hostage in front of you? Because if you think about that, are you supposed to run away because that's what you're told? It becomes into you are a character in every situation you're going to get put into. Because for me, it wouldn't be for whom I'm working for. In fact, you would start to argue in the sense, do you want to get involved because they have you have a family, you don't want to, there's other people, but what did one person say one time? They said something really good. They said, you could hear on the news of 1,000 people dying and you would feel really bad. They said, but if you were to see a squirrel get like half smashed by a truck, you would feel worse just watching it because you see it, it makes like you feel their pain. So like it's like a closer, like when you're close to something, you
I'll tell
feel
you
more of
something
the
more
pain.
than that. Actually, that happened 2 different times. Once when I was younger, you won't believe this, but I was taking my dog for a walk, and a squirrel fell out of a tree onto the concrete stoneway, the walkway in front of me. My dog saw it fall out of a tree, had compassion for it, decided not to hunt the little squirrel that was like, because it kind of broke its back, I think, because it fell out of the tree. And we just kind of walked around it, kind of and sniffed it, and we walked away. You know,
It had the terminal velocity to break its back with all the padding around it. I don't
I
think
don't
so.
know, but it fell out of the tree. It fell right in front of us, like like 10 feet in front of us while we're walking towards it. Because I think it got afraid and it tried to like climb up something. It didn't get a good grip and it fell down on the concrete. It must have hurt its neck or back or whatever. But it was like, it was kind of a little shaking, a little paralyzed or whatever. But my dog decided to give it compassion, not to hunt it because it was she. I think that's what predators do. They go after the thing when they feel that they're best. They can get away from you, but then you're the predator, and they can't. So I think my dog decided to give us some compassion. And then later on in life, when I was driving down this one road, these two squirrels are running after each other because I think the male was trying to mate with the female. And I'm turning down the road, and the one just goes right in front of my truck, and I run it over, and I feel the little bump, and I'm like, oh, I was trying to slow down. I was trying to like slow down and move over, and he runs right in front of the front wheel, and I feel like I crunched his skull.
Yeah,
And then
there's an
I look
example too of
back,
hitting
and
it
the
or
squirrel
something.
wasn't moving. So, but yeah, that's the whole point. Life and death, you feel it when it's there. But when you see it on TV and they tell you about all this stuff, you're like, yeah, it's just as a number to me. It doesn't mean anything.
And nowadays you're programmed so much to keep watching stuff
And that's the whole
that it
thing.
makes you more and more
We're
desensitized by
programmed
it.
to be deprogrammed from feeling life. When we grew up, all these movies that we see now that have all this death and all this destruction and all this stuff, it's like even a Deadpool movie. You watch some of the stuff where people are being killed and just executed in certain ways, and you're just like, oh my gosh, like you couldn't even imagine that when you were younger. Nowadays, it's like, whatever. I've seen
That's
it a
the
million
thing.
times. You're so desensitized. I think the
But
fact
that's
is
the
like
thing.
people want
War
to
is that.
desensitize you to
That
this.
is war. People getting shot when I mean, and nowadays you can't even imagine that kind of ground war that people would imagine that just getting off the boats in
Well,
Europe
I know,
and
man. The
running
way
into gunfire, seeing the
running
person
into
beside
gunfire,
you
getting
just
shot in the
and
face, getting shot
I'm
in the
not talking
eyeball,
I'm not talking
losing
just getting shot in the side.
fractured
I'm saying you
skulls.
see like their face just and you turn to your right and see them just as you turn back. And then as you're still running, looking back, you turn around, the person in front of you just gets blown up by a mine. And you're like, holy shit. Like, am I, like at this point, it's like I turn around, I'm dead. I go forward. I mean, like at
Probably
this
dead
point,
too.
yeah,
I'm
like,
gonna just zigzag and hope, pray to God I'll
yeah.
survive, maybe. But
And I always said that too. I said, even the deadliest warrior can still easily die by stray accident when it comes. That's what changed things. Before a sword, how close were you getting? Never that close. Because if he was that much better than you, it's not happening.
mm-hmm.
It's not. But then gunpowder started coming out, and you can get range. And once, I mean, you had arrows. People could have
Yeah,
arrows, but even arrows were still
I
kind of
gotta
slow.
say, that the one movie that I know my dad grew up watching. My dad grew up watching these things, and he showed me when I was younger. My dad showed me Jaws when I was like 9 or 10. Nowadays, people be like, "Oh my gosh, you can't show your kids something like that at that age." My dad was just, it's like He's gonna see it anyways. Like, dude, what do you want to see?
I didn't watch Jaws, but she watched like way worse movies than Jaws.
I'm just saying, like stuff like that. Just you see some parents, and I understand. Maybe you don't want your kids to see like all the scariest flicks at an early age, but sometimes when they get older, they ask questions. They want to see this. The fact is, if you get them to such an age where they're too old, and you told them they can't see this, they can't do that, guess what? Boom. You create a ticking time bomb. At some point, they're going to explode, and they're going to want to do all those things without your consent because you didn't let them do it, And
I try to explain all the time to my daughter. It's like, I'm not some son and mom's not. We will make mistakes. We're not perfect, but we are your parents, and you will listen to us, and we'll all make the mistake together, and you can learn for your future. But until then, you're following our rules.
And that's kind of what happens in a lot of families too.
To be. I'll gladly listen to your input when there's time, and you can add it, and you can legislate it properly. I'm all about it, But I won't tolerate this slow down process.
But yeah, that's the thing about parenting too that I've come to understand is like you always realize the mistakes of your parents from the past, and that's a hard thing. You live, but you live half of your life wondering about how to improve that.
I think it's an illusion.
But the fact is that's what people. Well, maybe it's an illusion, but that's what people let you believe because they have all these therapists out there to help you. The fact is, and I'm sorry to say this if you're a therapist, but the fact is, therapy from therapists isn't needed. It's needed from some people, but for the most part, the thing that's needed for therapy is to find the partner that you need to be with because the partner that you need to be with helps you understand the past therapies that you need to understand for your future. This is the reason why we have the partnership with male and female.
We're headed towards let's allow nurture to guide our decisions over nature. And I mean,
you need to balance nurture and nature.
No, but listen, extreme nature would be, that 27 times of the same exact image with the sound effect will manipulate the brain into memorization. So in which case we teach people by doing this extreme measure. That in impacting moments of visualization will allow people to burn memory of impact. And you can force a 5-year-old to watch a car accident and then teach them anything afterwards, and they'll remember it the rest of their life because of the dramatic impact of seeing the car accident. They'll always remember that story of and then right after they showed me these exact things, and it's because our brains are programmed certain ways to remember certain things differently. You could go to that extreme measure, but we're headed more towards this nurturing measure of let's find out who the person is, and then let's see if we can adapt to how that person is. But the thing about it is it's such a broad science that it should be looked into by candidates of all different people with anger issues. Let's root into it and start creating a science behind.
Well, sure, but the thing is,
how can we different? Okay, this person who grows up with anger issues, let's put them in a class like this where they learn this way. They need to be more hands, and you can. But then again, you're just doing the same thing. I don't like to look at the world like it's farming, creating the best people for the best things. I love diversity. I think it's exciting with diversity.
Exactly. But that's a point of nature versus nurture. This is where you're coming to. Nature versus nurture is that nature lets things, at a certain time, things need to change. Nurture just focuses on just keeping it going. How long can you breastfeed a child for? Until they're 3? Until they're 5? Until they're 12? Well, how far are you gonna let that go to? The child's gonna grow up thinking, "This is what life is." Mommy,
But
pull down your skirt. Let me drink from your tits.
Easily create a
it's
society
just
that's
it
different
comes
like that.
But I'm just saying, like, look at birds and look at how they live. They kick they kick the birds out of the nest, and some of the birds might not fly. They might die. They might not figure it out. But that's what they do, because that was what they're built to do. They're built to fly. And if they're just like, oh shit, oh wait a second, hey, this works. Hey, that's what I did. That's why they did that. This is why parents, they give the kids a kick in the ass at one point.
I think it's interesting that we oftentimes
so that the kids
compare parenting with other animals.
But it's the same thing. It's the same. It's not exactly the same thing. It's close to the same thing. But I'm just saying, like, that's typically what the man is for. The woman is there for the nurturing part. The man is there to rear the children. So once they get to a part, that's why children come to the. Not always
the case with animals.
It's not always the case, but most of the time the children come to the man asking for understandings of life.
But it's a big margin of most. There is like 30%. I feel like, or something like that.
Let me tell you, man. This is why my dad showed me Jaws. This is why you showed your kid stuff you did. You're trying to show them what real life is. This is what life is. It's breaking them open into the experience of, like, this is all the things that are out there. The mother, on the other hand, is like, don't go there. It's dangerous. I will protect you. But the man is like, I know this is dangerous. I will protect you, but you need to know these things. And at a certain point, man and woman do different things because we have to. This is nature. It's nature for us as men to showcase and protect our children from things of the future by showing them what's going on in the world, versus a lot of women that are trying to protect from a maternal perspective. And
not necessarily the case in terms of money generation, though.
No, I'm not talking about money. I'm just talking about, like, children being raised and stuff. Money is the trading value there. Now that's a whole nother thing on top of that cake layer. That's a whole new thing. I don't know how that fits into our conversation here, but it fits on top of it somehow. If we could figure that out, that'd be perfect. But
it adapted to society, and this is what I'm trying to say, though, with everything, is that everything we have is based on some societal idea that we considered as norm. So it's like our planet is a democracy. The majority falls. You get birthed into, this is the rules. And a lot of them you can be like, well, it makes sense. I don't want to be murdered. So I guess, murder, you shouldn't do it. Makes sense.
I won't do it. So you won't do it.
And then it's like, you get into other things like stealing. It's like you get, then once you get into, like, even stealing, you start to argue, is it considered stealing? Is anything considered stealing? What if a person has cars and they're all his, manipulated the situation to have everything, but he doesn't even guard it, and you can just take it if you wanted to? Are we just supposed to have this honor system? The guy screws over people for a living to take things. You know what I mean? It's like even like the pharmaceutical companies right now. You know what I mean? It makes no sense why we follow anything a pharmaceutical. Oh, we're gonna need more. It's gonna be money. It's approved by the people we give money to, and Congress is mandating.
I think the fact is we have to come down to the understanding, and you know what the thing is. I think what's going to happen in the future, and probably when we're a little older and a little grayer, is people are going to start to realize that a lot of the money that we're trading doesn't mean anything. There's no real true value to it, and so we might have some hardships in some ways, but we might come through it into a point of, like, what is honorable and what is rational to trade and to have with other people, because then other people will be like, well, this, because here's the thing, you might say, let's do everything rationally and perfectly and free and all that. Let's say my area, I can only grow this particular apple tree and you can't because you don't live here. It doesn't grow there. But I live here, and I've lived here, so I grow that, and I grow apples, and you grow oranges.
This is the Iberico ham from Spain. Only place it can grow is like up north. A certain kind of ham.
Yeah, and so because of what I have, what I can do, what I can make, what I can do, it determines my worth. Now, let's say I move and I go down to a place where they have oranges and all that sort of thing. Now I'm competing with other people that have oranges. No matter what, you're going to be competing with something because somebody else is going to have something or going to put a stamp on it. Be like, this is my area. I do this. And if you want to do this, you're either going to be underneath me or you're going to be my competition. This is the reason why. This is the reason why I love The Witcher. I love Vampire to D is because people will be like, "Oh, what about these storybook heroes that just go out and save people and they just do it?" Guess what? The world doesn't work like that. If somebody said, "There's a dragon over here, you got to slay it, Mr. Witcher," and he was lying, the guy would travel all the way over there and there's nothing over there. And then someone else lies and says there's a dragon over there. No, you got to pay me. Nobody pays for a joke.
No, but it's like, all right, here's.
But you see that? Do you see what I'm saying? No one pays for a joke. Nobody has the money to afford to pay for a joke in that society. Vampire to D, The Witcher, they're like, if you're fucking lying to me, I'm wasting my time. You have to pay me money in order to do this shit.
All right. This is what I'm saying though. All right. It gets into this argument that those like how those celebrities will patent certain weird things about themselves and stuff. Like I understand the idea of a competing company, saying like you can't use our same color if you're gonna be in the same like laundry detergent business, Tide orange.
Well, okay. Let's say you have a teardrop that is orange, and that's your logo. Someone else trying to sell the same thing with the same product, and it's like, hey, you can't do that because it's ours.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, this is the point that I'm trying to make, is like...
People brand themselves on things. I get that.
For instance, like Disney.
They branded their cattle, so they would know which one their what their cattle was compared to someone else. If someone stole their cattle, be like, hey, that's my cattle, that's my cow.
Okay, for instance, imagine if somebody never has seen Disney, never has seen it, and ends up drawing one day Mickey Mouse. Perfect, almost perfectly. Maybe there might be some subtle differences.
I think there was an instance of this. I'd have to look this up.
Okay, so Disney's obviously going to sue, or they'll send a cease and desist first. This is too close. But the person says, I don't know who Mickey Mouse is. And they see him and they go, oh, that does look a lot like my character. Right? But my character is, Tommy Mouse or Tommy Micehead, It's not the same character. They look similar. They're mice.
Mm-hmm.
There's only so many features. I'm not drawing Tommy Micehead doesn't have 3 eyes. He's a mouse, and he's a cartoon mouse. So, I cartooned him a little. I had the
same conversation with Rob just a little while ago, and
okay.
You know what the thing is? He said everybody's trying to scam off somebody. They were both trying to scam off each other. I watched the TV series Doom Patrol. If you can find it, watch Doom Patrol. That is the original concept of what X-Men turned into. Doom Patrol is the pre-X-Men.
Right. Well, and
Marvel stole all the ideas from X-Men to make X-Men. Stan Lee stole, whether it was Stan Lee or the people working for him, they stole the ideas.
I'm just saying, I don't even understand. You could basically have, and then so you could get lawyers, and they could have to say like, no, you have to stop making this character because he's too close to the Disney character. And it's like, but I've never seen the Disney character. There should be absolutely no reason why my creative inspiration should be blocked because somebody's paid money for it, that they have their character and nobody can have creative inspiration near it. At this point, it's just basically buying the land. Now you're just buying every terminology until what happens when the person dies? Are you going to get them?
Dude, that's what this is about. That's what this is about. This Age of Aquarius is the past is not you might think money is everything, but money isn't everything. It's about what we're trying to do to live a life, right? But what we have to do to live a life is trade value for value. Now, either we do that through a republic system, democratic system, or a communistic system. It doesn't matter. One way or another, we're trading value for value, right? Your thing for my thing for your thing. It just works that way, whether the government's like, I'm taking everything and I'm giving it to you. From a top-down system or a side-to-side system, it's value for value all the time, but with the age of
copyrights.
I was trying to get to this point. Just hold on. Yeah. With the age of Aquarius, ideas, air, trading value for value of things that don't even exist. Ideas. Mickey Mouse is a concept. It's an
NFTs.
It's a concept. It's a drawing.
Non-fungible transactions. I know.
It's ideas. The what is it? The crypto. It's an imaginary. It's an imaginary system. You're taking money from a value of a system of government, putting it into another imaginary crypto system, and it's there and is fluctuating, but it doesn't really exist in a physical form. Nothing's physical anymore. You're trading the value of ideas now. This is what Aquarius is about, man.
GameStop showed that the Wall Street's too much rigged, so they just created cryptos to be like, we'll just make our own stocks in a sense. And now when cryptos are getting too much played out, they're like, we'll just get into these NFT type things that basically just really rip people off.
I think they're trying to find a base for people to jump into. And cryptos could be a good thing. It could just be another futuristic idea to trap people into something else. Be like, scare them away from the old, put them into the new, keep them in the same system, and grid it off so that nothing else happens to it. The reason that I kind of like it a little bit is because it's not really tied to anything. But then again, it is tied to something. But then again, the thing is like
to access your account.
What?
You have to enter your username and password to access your account.
That's the same thing for a bank account, dude. Same thing for a bank
account.
Well,
then you're tied to something.
But I'm just saying, like, it's something that was
and that digital footprint
it's either a fun idea,
hacked and taken like anything else. Anything on the internet is even better because it's digitally tracked.
Okay.
There's nothing that goes on in the internet that's not tracked.
So what we have to do is set up. What we have to do is set up a system of web cells.
And even if you did make something that was so private where only you and someone else made that transaction, guess what's going to happen? One, either A, people will discover it and say we should hack it and use it as, or two, you're going to enterprise this as a business and you have to monitor the whole thing because, well, someone has to hold the key.
That's the whole point. That's our future.
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
We're gonna have to monitor our own products, like.
But you know how you didn't have to monitor anything? Straight cash. I bought that for $10.
You have to monitor that. Straight cash is different now. You're not thinking about it like it was in the past. In the past, people would jack you on the street, and take your cash. But nowadays, people aren't even thinking about that. They're thinking about how they're going to hack your account to take your cash that way.
But it's in a bank.
What you're saying, what you're thinking about is going back to a physical presence of it. But the fact is, if we had some way of a system where we could have our own individual account without being tied to a bank, like what we had in the past with Bazaar, like with some games,
back in the day,
with some games, if you have a Bazaar, you have all the items on your back.
They kept that money at home, and if you were going to rob them, you were probably going to have to kill that family because if you didn't kill or tie up that family, they were going to shoot you with their shotgun before you ever broke into their safe.
You open the door and you get shot in the face. That's what you deserve.
So, I mean, that was your two options. You may be able to overpower them if you got through their guns, and in which case, okay, you've committed robbery. You know what I mean?
Here's the thing. Like, a lot of people don't realize in the past, and even in a lot of games you play, and they're very simplistic games, even one I'm playing right now. People come to raid you, right? The Vikings came to raid you. You'll see this in movies. You'll see this in things. It'll be comical, or it might not be comical or whatever. Someone comes to raid you. they take your stuff and they leave, they may kill some people that are trying to defend it. But the fact is they'll kill everybody if anybody tries to defend it. And the fact is, if you don't kill them, they'll take it. And then you're left with nothing. And in those days, if you were in a winter time and you were left with nothing in the winter, and they took all your meats, they took all your vegetables, they took all your stuff, you
lose.
You starve to death, and it's worth. And basically, yeah, you didn't die that day, but you died a slow death, and you died a painful death.
But you know
or your children died. Your children slowly died because you weren't able to protect your stuff. This is what happens in life. And you might be like, but they're hungry, they're poor. Well, you're going to be in. They're trading your shoes for their no shoes, so that you can live their life and slowly die like them.
I feel like you're talking like cowboy times, but you know how most of those people, got solved. They didn't come in the streets and lose to like a gun battle. Those cowboys just hunted them down where they lived at night and beat them down and captured them or killed them. Like they followed them away from the town. Once you found where they were, you found their hideout. You just waited like a real bounty hunter.
That's why people in the town had a network with other people. They had a network of other people. They would.
You realize they can only be hiding within like 15 kilometers to get the natural. If they're going to keep banding this, and they're going to probably want to hit different towns now and then to keep things on a slope. So you think they're probably in this general area. You took it to them. You didn't.
You took the fight to them and you killed them all off.
You didn't wait for them to come to you and then
you see a lot of these old
police.
Like even was it Witchblade or was it I think it was Witchblade or not Witchblade what was
but nowadays with police it's like, what do they steal? Well, if we get any tips or hear anything about it, we'll let you know. But chances are you should let your insurance company take care of this.
I had, and I told you about this too. I told you about this too, man.
Insurance is evil.
We're already like 2 hours in here, or 2 and 10 minutes in here. But I'm just saying, like, I got a story to tell you if you want to talk more about it. We can. But person who was, I actually figured out the whole fucking story. Can you believe this? I'm kind of a detective in a way. I could probably be a detective. This one woman who was angry with her ex-boyfriend because he broke up with her and all that. And it was after Valentine's Day. She drove with her vehicle onto the front lawn in an apartment building complex. Basically, like if I drove on your front lawn, drove over your bush in front of your house, right in front of your porch. And you were just walking out to get the morning mail. And I'm driving over your bush, I could have ran you over. She did that. She almost hit me. My kid was behind me. She could have ran over me and my child. She was on drugs. She was on alcohol. She was on other things. She had the bush stuck in her car because she was trying to back out. She started crying and saying, "Can you help me get out of here?" After she just drove over the bush right in front of me, like 10 feet in front of me. She could have ran me over. She could have ran over my child. And then she asked me for help to get out of there. So what ends up happening is I say, "I'm sorry, but I have to call the police on you." And she's like, "It's okay, I'm an MP." And I'm thinking, I don't fucking care what you are. You could be God for all I care, and I'm calling the police on you. You could have ran me over. Call the police on her.
You're telling me God was like, "Right, let this one slide."
Like, let it slide.
You're gonna be
watching
like,
Lucifer. We're watching the first pilot for the Lucifer episode. Like, I know what you did. You also did bad. I will let you go. Okay, not doing that. So call the police. Police show up. I tell them everything about it. I act like a detective for the guy that's asking me all the questions. He goes out, because
I'm the cops, just like this annoying guy.
I had the license.
Darren.
I remember the license plate, or some of the license plate. I remember the car.
He drove away?
They drove away. Yeah, she kept driving. She just backed away. She drove away, and She didn't fucking
hit you again.
All she really did was drive over a bush, but she was within range of running me over, and I had my kid with me. If my kid would have ran out in front, she could have gotten hit. And so the person drives off. I tag their license plate. The first thing I do is look at the license plate. And then I just look at the make of the car, because I used to work as a lot attendant for a long time. So I know all the cars and what they are, color and everything.
Make, model. She was probably in her late 30s, blonde hair.
No, it was. Well, you're very close. 30, guess what color the car was?
34C, I'd say, but she might choose to wear a B cup. So
Guess what color car it was?
What? It was like a brown tan.
It was a reddish color there. She had a Ford Escort. Older Ford Escort.
96, 97.
Dirty blonde. Drives off, says she's an MP. Tell the officer that. Tell the license plate. He drives over to her house. After a few hours, she comes out. She's like, I don't have to tell you anything. He's like, well, that's not how it works here. She's like, well, that's how it works in the MP. Like if you don't see it, it didn't happen. If the police don't catch you, it doesn't work. It doesn't happen. Not the way with the regular police in Wisconsin. No, not the same way.
Didn't see it.
And so I.
Who's your witness?
I'm the witness here. I'm the witness. I told him. I said she's probably going to have some of the bush stuck in her wheel because she drove over a fucking bush. The big fucking bushes you drive over. You ever try driving over there with a car to get out of the way? Oh, that's hard. She still had the bush stuck up in the wheel well when he caught it. He's like, there's fresh foliage bush stuck in her with her license plate, with all this. She got charged for it. And you know what? I thought it was what I thought it was. Her boyfriend broke up with her. It was a day after Valentine's Day, and she was angry, and she tried to drive over to his house and stalk him and stuff, but then she got stuck, and she tried to drive away. She almost hit me. She almost hit. Everything happened exactly as I thought it happened. And I told the police officer exactly that, and she got charged. She got charged whatever she got charged for, but, justice happened that way.
Kitchen with the shovel. Well done.
I figured out the clue game.
Well done.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
But how? How did you know? A shovel.
It was a day after Valentine's Day. There couldn't be any other reason for it, especially with some girl going,
to make that run.
It's like
you'd have to run 17 seconds. In which case, the person came
Never break up with a girl after Valentine's Day. You could hurt somebody
later.
else unintentionally. Just saying, don't do it.
The person never even noticed that you were short of breath. How? How could you have not been short of breath after running so fast at full speed and only having 3 seconds to spare after getting into that kitchen? You couldn't have even fumbled with the keys. Very well done. To put that murder weapon back in the shed.
Did you see the Clue movie?
Everybody thought it was going to be the gardener. I mean...
It's never the gardener. Gardener takes care of things. Loves life.
But the way the butler hated the gardener, you assumed, obviously, the butler...
Beans are spit? What'd you say?
I said the mistress was seeing the gardener and the husband was getting suspicious.
Oh, okay.
And the butler knew.
All right. What else do you have to say? We got already like 2 hours in. I just want to I don't think this is gonna go on BlitzShoot. It's gonna go on YouTube probably. BlitzShoot is.
Is it going on? It's going on something.
Well,
Cool.
Well, BitChute has a certain megabyte upload cap. I can only go so high. So I can only put up a certain portion of this on BitChute. YouTube can get a whole thing.
So high.
But BitChute's like, I'm sorry, but we're gonna have to reserve this amount for nobody. And so they fucked themselves over.
If you say it backwards, it's like, you bitch.
As below, as above, as below, as forward as backwards. Yes, it probably is.
I mean, everything in people's names nowadays, like that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just
that's what my friend said. That's what my friend said when he was listening to other Led Zeppelins and stuff like that. He's like, "Oh, that backwards tracking stuff, that's nonsense. That doesn't mean anything." I'm like, "No, they actually did have a court case about that, and they did try to do that. It's true. They tried to actually do reverse speech, and they."
What if that was hell?
But I think that's the point. As forward as is backwards, as above as below. They're trying to tell you a certain thing. Like some songs speak about certain things in backwards tone, and then you're like, what? But they're trying. But that was the whole thing in the back in the day. It was all trying to be subliminal. Now they're just straight out in your face. They don't even care anymore. They just tell you what. Do the wrong thing. It's the right thing.
Stairway to Heaven. Yeah, so maybe we're supposed to listen to these other messages backwards. Do the wrong thing. Because, I mean, to me, it's always been creepy. But you think about it. All right, Stairway to Heaven. Heaven talks about, like, the evilest stuff backwards. And then if you play...
It's actually...
If you play Highway to Hell...
of going to...
It talks about, like,
Yahweh.
Jesus coming. And, like, it's like...
Well, it talks about Yahweh and stuff. It's that's why I've always had the idea of the archons. That's why I was kind of believed in that.
It's so weird, though. But the Stairway to Heaven one really does sometimes, like, it doesn't always. Sometimes you kind of like, well, you're fudging it there, but sometimes. But then again, it's like, I mean, it's like I said, it's all still English.
It's how it's how they moved the lyrics to make it sound like something a little different too. You could just say something backwards. It doesn't mean that it's gonna be heard backwards. But when you're the way that the pitch is going up and down, it can create that sound to create that letter or word.
No, I know what you mean. It's a
trick. It's a bit of a trick, but it works. I think that's but that's the way that this is how we grew up. This is why you're talking about Clue. This is fucking why you're talking about Clue. It's because this is why we grew up. We grew up trying to figure things out because we had to detective the shit out of things to figure it out because there was something else going on there. And we're just like, there's something there.
They never make a show like that. What if you just made a super fun, crazy sounding show where people like actually unlock, like search for the ultimate power, right? And like you go like the person's like doing all the secret things for the language. Now it's like a cartoon and it's not really gonna ever happen. But like he digs into it and he finds out like, some people call this the language of the dead. Some, the language of power. They talk about when, the pharaoh's magicians and sorcerers threw theirs out. They were also able to throw snakes. And, like, how did they do that if, they didn't have God on their side?
But if that is really the real way things are, though, like how we imagine the world to be, it becomes that. Like when I was younger, I thought certain things are going to be popular. And because it could be because I thought it could just be because I was in tune with like
what
the
everybody else
possibility of
wanted.
reality is.
Well, because things like people like certain things. I mean, when certain things come up,
Well,
like, oh yeah, it's
sure,
cool.
but not everything that I like, and a lot of things I like are pretty niche.
But
It's not like
it's becoming.
I'm
It's like
not like the most. I don't like always the most popular things. Like Fortnite, when it came out, I'm like, yeah, I really don't like that. It wasn't because that it wasn't going to be popular. It's because I just don't like building and shooting. It just seems weird.
but you knew it was going to be popular.
I kind of thought, well, okay, this is an interesting concept, so it could be popular.
As soon as I played Fortnite for 5 seconds, I said this game's going to be great. People are going to love this game.
But I don't
Building at the same time as shooting people in a battle royale, like why would you not like that?
But the thing is the same thing with Rocket League. I thought Rocket League was going to be kind of popular in a sense, but
Rocket League is popular.
I'm not good at soccer. And the whole podcast concept of like, oh, I gotta go, fuck it, I don't care anymore. I don't know. It's like my brain just goes to jelly. It's like I want to do something else.
Summoners War, the game I play though nowadays, when they do these like, oh, let's combine the globals, you realize like millions of people seem to play this game. Like, holy crud! Unless they're fudging the numbers to make people.
Some of them do, but it's only to a certain degree. It's not like 100%.
Well, I think it's also millions of accounts.
It's 100. It's not 100%. If people fudge the degree to see what's good, the hardest I could say would be 25%. Would be literally a quarter of the numbers. It wouldn't be any more than that. If it was any more than that, it would blow my mind. It'd be like you could sell this to more than 25% of people that don't even fucking care. That would be like, wow. Because honestly, because here's the thing. Do you know why they took out the YouTube thing with the dislikes? People were showcasing how badly everybody fucking hated the White House now. They took every video out of Trump. They put every video of Biden. And when you went to look at it, it was a 1% like ratio to a 10% like ratio. Typically, when you look at algorithms and you look at analysis and stuff like that, YouTube video on average is going to have 10% likes. So people are going to press the like button 10% of the time because YouTube's been going for a long time. I've looked at analytics on stuff, 10% likes or 5% likes. But typically it's going to have about 5% dislikes. So people are 5% of the time dislikes. It could be a bot, but it could be a person too. But it depends on how many views. So if you got 100 views, you're going to have 10 likes, and you probably have 5 dislikes. That's an average. It typically happens even on my videos, even on videos that are fucking perfect. I mean, I've got a few videos that are fucking perfect that are just amazing. And I'm not joking. I've got like 50 plus comments saying, "Dear God, this was fucking fantastic. Thank you so much for bringing this out." And I still have about 5% dislikes. For no reason. I have the perfect strategy. There is nothing better to do. And I still have 5% dislikes. It's because people do things at a percentage. The numbers are real. Numbers are true. Percentages do work.
Ruin the game for everybody.
But when you look at certain things, from a political percentage, and people talk about the fact is like, how is Biden elected when he only has 5% likes? Everybody disliked it.
Yeah,
and then immediately when people figure that out, they take away the dislike button. You're like, well, that throws everything to shit, because even me, I love the dislike button, because then I know what people
Biden
don't
can't
like.
even go out in public because people
I'd have to go inside the algorithm to figure out which I don't even know anymore for most of my videos. I gotta click the video individually, figure out which is disliked, so I can understand.
With the way California, and this is what I'm saying, California, they're so like mob mentality anyway, and nowadays YouTube just shows how bad Biden is
because they're democracy.
So
democracy's mob mentality.
But everybody in California sees how bad Biden is. So I mean, the whole world, or at least the whole country right now, there's nobody supporting Biden. other
Yeah.
than like
Even Biden supported fuck himself. The only president is literally say fuck himself. And he's like, yes, let's go, Brandon. He's so...
I agree.
Either he's so stupid or he's so demented because he's so old. He's like the last president we had with dementia was Ronald Reagan was late presidency, and we just were like, he's demented. He's done.
He said when Trump said those rapist Mexicans, and everyone's like, oh, he's like, he never said that, Joe. Oh, he didn't. And it's like, he's like, and it was your son at Burisma, like, it's like, and he's just like, so, you can tell it's like, I mean, come on, how if you have 81 million people that voted for this guy, how do you have...
The fact is that he talked about corn pop tells me that people are just stupid enough to believe anything he says, because as soon as he started talking about corn pop, I'm like, you are fucking beyond autistic in any way. And I've been diagnosed as autistic.
I don't even understand beyond,
you are just the mentality, the stupidity the people would have to follow you would be insane. The fact that anybody would believe the fucking story about corn pop in any shape or form blows my mind. It's bullshit. It's all
Snopes investigated it and gave it 2 thumbs up.
Yeah, it turned into a Clue movie. Corn pop, dude. Corn pop is bullshit. All these stories, he makes shit up. Dude makes shit up half the time. How does he turn into talking about his hairs on his legs turning into cockroach legs and cockroach hairs? What the fuck is he even talking about?
Let's not be mean. He's always a little bit of a joker, but his policies are... Fuck.
He grabbed his dog's tail in his shower. Who the fuck showers with their dog? And then he hurts himself. What the fuck? This guy makes shit up all the time, dude. Is a perpetual liar. He's a perpetual liar.
It's completely normal to kiss all of your family on the lips.
And their ass.
All the time.
With your tongue.
Completely normal to smell children's
very
hair.
Neatly. And twist their nipples on television too.
Completely normal to whisper in their ear comments that make them clearly uncomfortable.
And then lick them on the ear. I wish I had a video of that because that would be perfect.
Close to your age. She smells of lilacs like you. What?
Wait, what?
Lilacs, the flower, lilac.
The flower, lilacs.
Lilacs. Google it. These kids don't know anything about anything anymore. Lilacs.
Dude is the creepiest person that's ever lived for 200 years. I don't understand. Even in one of my games I'm playing, the guy that was at war with me finally died. At guess what age?
242 years.
119. Nobody lives after 125 years. So he finally died. It took a long ass time, but he finally died. But guess what? The war didn't die with him. So I got to go to war with his predecessor. But I'm just saying, man, like the whole thing with the algorithm, as soon as people started talking about that and they started telling you, like, look at these things here,
You're going to see the craters on the moon. Ma'am, we already see the craters on the moon. Even with our naked eyes, we can see that.
I'd rather see the craters on her ass, honestly. I'd rather see that, As much as, I'm not really a big Kamala fan.
The thing that blows my mind is
she looks all right. I'd be like...
seriously, the thing that blows my mind most about it is that Biden literally was like, we have someone better than Martin Luther King Jr. And I'm thinking like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And he's like, and it's George Floyd. And I'm just thinking in my mind, like, he's like, now he says like he's done more of an impact.
Fucking idiot. Complete idiot.
And it's not
The
just
same
that,
people following this guy are following a complete fucking idiot.
What blows my mind is, where's Kamala to be like, Joe, you can't,
Joe,
you
no,
can't
Joe,
speak.
no. She called him a racist before.
The,
She even was on his side.
I
She
imagine
called
the
him a
handlers were
racist.
probably like, the handlers were probably like, we want Kamala, we want you to take this one.
Handlers.
Try to change, George Floyd is a new Martin Luther King. We need to make that so because we can shape who George Floyd was at any time we want in the media.
That's what they tried to do with Kyle Rittenhouse, and that fucking failed hard.
And Kamala's probably like, I don't think it'll work. The crowd's just gonna be like, she's Jamaican, and it's not gonna resonate with anybody. Like, why don't you get Joe to do it? I mean, he always had black kids touching his legs and stuff at the pool. Like, he knew Corn Pop. Like,
they were all cockroaches to him because they're black and they're different colored.
Joe, do you think you can do it? I can say whatever the teleprompter tells me to say. I mean, just
don't put an earpiece in here, and I'll be like, salute the Marines. Salute the Marines. Yeah, salute the Marines. Oh shit, I'm supposed to salute the Marines. Oh, here we go. Thank you. Oh,
I told you before, guys. Don't put things in parentheses.
Make sure
I read what's in parentheses out loud because that's how you read things.
Oh, Mr. Marine, I'm gonna have to promote you to the Gestapo membership so that you only support me. If you support own secret police, but don't tell anybody that it's my own secret police, okay? I just need my own police that, Nancy Pelosi will tell you all the details. I'll just...
The thing is, I'm not sure,
I got president shit to do. Back, I don't need votes. I'm already in, bitch.
A while back, I saw, I used to think that there might have been two Joes. And, the one, like I said, he has that little bit more of a George Bush look. And he's a little bit more... He's a little bit more normal.
They clone people, Paul. Or Brad,
And, yeah, the original person. Imagine if they said it's like the original.
It's a clone, a doppelganger.
Who made this machine was George Bush. So in order for it to work, he needed his DNA implanted in the machine. So no matter what, your clone gets a tiny bit of George Bush DNA put into it automatically. But I don't know why. But one of the things I saw him lately saying he looked like it, and I'm wondering, man, I think it's coming. I think he's gonna, kick the bucket. I do. I think
he'll kick the bucket. Kamala will come in and she'll be like, "I'm the big man on campus, and I say we go to war." Yeah, it's gonna be. I don't know what we're gonna go to war with.
No, I think everything that Kamala is gonna do is gonna constantly for the next 3 years. What we're gonna have to hear, 2 years anyway, 2.5.
A lot of laughing.
What we're gonna have to hear her say is, what we need to do is think about what Joe would want to have done. And he would have wanted this. I know Joe. And Joe would have wanted...
Let's go, Brandon. So she's going to say fuck him too.
No, she's going to... Everything is going to be like this. Joe would have wanted the filibuster to go on. Joe would have wanted...
Oh, please don't do that, man. You know what? This is the thing I'm starting to believe. Our reality is exactly as we wish to say it is. It's just like the Ghostbusters.
Or just a few.
No, dude. Our reality is exactly like the Ghost fucking Busters. And choose your destroyer.
Joe would have wanted us to continue fighting.
I didn't choose anything. Forward. I didn't choose anything either.
We've lost a great
tried
leader.
Not to, but the Stay Puft
Marshmallow Man devoted his life.
He was the safest
as a politician, working for the people constantly, involved in so many changes and gotten us to this point. And we have more work to do. And Joe, even though you're not here anymore, we're going to keep pushing it, and we're going to keep fighting in your name. I'm going to be like, your name.
Even though we don't understand anything we're talking about, we just want to make a powerful statement so everybody will definitely, as Bill Clinton does,
no more 8 hours.
Give us the vote.
Joe,
give us the vote.
24/7.
Because Bill Clinton doesn't do this. He does this. Give us the vote.
I was just thinking, every time I think about her saying that, I just keep thinking, like, I told them no more 8-hour shifts, 24/7. I was like, man, we'll be able to pile that garbage up outside those trains 3 times faster now. Like, what do we do with it, boss? I don't know. There's no place to put anything anymore. Just
Oh
throw
man.
it in the ocean.
Hey, you humans in the ocean, they don't care over there.
Nobody's investigating. That's what I mean. That's what keeps happening. They keep finding like, oh, look at this warehouse full of all this stuff. Shit, they found another one of our places where we just stashed everything.
Oh no.
Soaking it. You see that in California, dude. $5+ million of PPE just soaking in the rain in boxes out of the warehouse. And this woman pulls up and she's talking to him. She's like, everything was handled the way it was supposed to be handled here. Are you like $5+ million of like face masks and I mean, just you name it, just soaking in the rain? And everything was handled the way it was supposed to be handled. But as soon as the ABC guy uncovered the whole story, they shortly after started taking everything back inside a new warehouse and sorting it out what was damaged and what was still salvageable. So I guess that was all part of the plan. The ABC just kind of got in the middle of, probably wasted their day investigating everything. They could have gotten that stuff done in 12 hours earlier.
The thing is, I'm a very happy person now, understanding the reality of things. But the fact is, the reality of things are just
so much money,
mostly a joke.
Let it rot in the ocean, rot in the rain. Yeah, all that money that China,
a joke.
all those things that, hey, let's buy it. All those things that people buy all over the sides of the train tracks and all that, just those images are just, I mean, it's beyond, you know what I mean? It's beyond. It's not just like poor management, poor people. I mean, people who's like, somebody's getting on these trains and pushing the boxes off. People know where to pick up. This is the material. They leave the boxes. They don't care about the boxes. They're taking the stolen goods of the person shoving off the train. You know what I mean? And it's all root. It's a system.
Yeah. I think we should talk about this more later with the whole system because we're pretty late here. But I don't know. Hate to cut you off, but we're like almost 3 hours in here.
They're just trying to, slowly break the people.
And I think that's the whole point that I'm trying to say. If we can get some other thing other than a corporation that can actually include human honor and back into the honor system of what we used to be. Because the fact is we're trading for value for value. Now we're trading for what? Just money? We don't even understand the value of what we're trading. We literally forgot the idea of what we're trading for, what we're trading for. We're just like, oh, that costs that much. I have this much. We don't even understand the meaning behind it. What is the meaning behind it? What is that? What is that chair that I have? What does it mean? How much can I trade that chair for your chair? Is my chair more valuable than your chair? Or is your chair more valuable than my chair? And then what do I have to pick up for it?
When I hear people talk about things that are so non-necessary and like even luxury items like a candy bar or something like that, and they'll say, oh, and I need this. And I'm thinking like, need? Like, you don't even need the shampoo. You could just go like simple like baking soda and vinegar and rough it up and then maybe get some kind of nice smell or something cheap, something easy. Grow your own flowers. Take some of those, mellow them up. You take a little bit of that, and you'll smell just as good as anybody.
This is what I told other people too. I said you can literally and people, I've read this. You can cut a lime, you can cut the skin off a lime, put it under your bed. It'll raise a fragrance that will smell very good. But what I've done is I've cut a lime into quarter slices or thinner than that. And I put that in my closet. I put it underneath my bed. Nothing eats it. It just dries out like a flower being hung.
It absorbs moisture.
And nothing eats it. but it gives off a good smell. And the fact is, what is most of your cleaning stuff done with? Limes and lemons. Why?
Yeah,
Why does nothing eating? It's a cleaning material. It's a cleaning material. You eat it and it cleans out your insides.
90% water and then vinegar.
Yeah, cleans out your insides, right?
So what was the point of buying this one? You know, like if it's just vinegar
and a little bit of lime and water spritzer, or lemon and water with spritzer, you can clean things that way.
Just put some bleach on everything. That's how I clean everything. Is bleach.
Yeah, I don't do that very much.
I use bleach on everything. Except, well, not my foods and stuff. I use vinegar in cleaning my foods. I'll wash them with a.
You know, I made a joke with one of my ex-girlfriends with Frank's Red Hat.
Oh.
She's like, you like that sauce? I'm like, I put that shit on everything. She didn't get it. She didn't see it. I wasn't talking about Frank's Red Hot sauce. Anyways, I think we should close out tonight.
Yeah, I think we should too. You're right.
Yeah.
Good choice.
All right. Thanks everybody for coming by. Hope you had a good time. Let's see here. Okay. Do you want to leave any closing thoughts, Brad, before we go here?
Remember, everything you know is an illusion. Everything you've been taught is just something that people got taught before and thought it made sense to them because that's what they think. We could use the power of 8s as our numbers in counting and all be raised up. 10s are just easy because we have 10 fingers. But there are other ways, you can systematically change everything we do, We could change our calendars back to 13 months, 28 days each, and, have those 2 blank days. And we could switch, but everything we know is just what we're programmed to think. And you need to be careful of that. You need to be thinking, is this always the best plan? And who's saying it's the best plan? Because in reality, who says they don't agree with me and I don't approve? Lock them away. Now, I could understand if I did something that hurt you, but again, it's the whole concept of emotionally hurting. That's a whole other story. We can get that for another episode. You need to be careful on allowing people to dictate you and decide this is how you do things. Why? Because I control you. No, you don't. No one controls you. You control you, and they can just control what they can. Act like they control. You control. And that's what I'll do.
That's a great way to end it, man. You control you. So, I think we need to take some words of wisdom here. And
but even with a lazy attitude, it's only because that's what you've been programmed to think. You decide. You know what I mean? You decide. Every day.
Not what we're programmed to think nowadays. We're programmed to think we do what we're told. You stick to your plan and you're good.
Well, you're programmed to think, what excuse can I make for why I didn't do it?
That's a lazy perspective, but
that's what they want. Make lazy people.
That's
Produce
true.
Lazy people.
All right, everybody. Thanks for coming by. We'll see you next episode. Have a good night.